no.
Ooh.
Was it coffee you just drank?
Ooh. No, I just coughed all the crap out of myself, and I took a big swing of coffee. I coughed out the crap, and I got 6.5 hours of sleep last night.
Holy shit! 6.5?
More than I've gotten all week, so I'm ready to go. I am definitely not riding a temporary caffeine high that will peter out by the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Good news for me means bad news for everybody else.
Damn right.
Buckle up, motherfuckers.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast. Here on RageSelect, I'm Jeff.
I'm Amanda.
Amanda.
Yeah.
It's no theme this week, I'm afraid.
Aww.
It's all a big smorgasbord of news. It's like the Golden Corral of news. Like this news.
I bet it's gonna feel like being the Golden
for
Corral.
hours. Like it looks pretty good from a distance.
A little kid kind of coughed over everything.
Yeah,
and,
some of that macaroni smells a little funny.
Yeah. For some reason, there's sprinkles in the mashed potatoes.
But it's a good value, and there's a lot of it. So
anyway, we're glad you're listening.
Yeah. I'm gonna start making boutique podcasts, like 12 minutes of like the best, but then you got to pay for it. Like,
wow,
you want that free shit? I got 2.5 hours of free shit for you, just laying around. But if you want that,
you could pay $100 for a delectable 12-minute podcast.
And then eventually, once I become famous for my boutique, like bespoke podcast that you have to pay for, then I'll be like the guy from the menu, and I can invite like all of the richest people over to the thing, and I can give them all podcasts. Well, we don't have to. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay.
No, for legal purposes, no.
I'm just saying nobody has to worry except for John Leguizamo, because that guy shouldn't come over here. I'm just saying. He knows why. He knows why.
Is it the Super Mario Brothers movie?
It was a Super Mario Brothers. No.
Yeah.
It was the words Luigi Mario. I saw it when I was like a 12-year-old, and
that lives with me forever. I'm Mario, he's Luigi Mario.
Yeah.
And then they should do what's it called? Luigi's Haunted Mansion spooky game, whatever it's called, I forget. And then they could have Gooigi, and Charlie Day should be Luigi, and then John Leguizamo should be Gooigi.
I was thinking you were gonna go. I was thinking you were gonna go with like they should remake Luigi's Mansion, but just have a really photo accurate head of John Leguizamo.
Oh my God.
On Luigi's character instead of the cartoon.
100%. If you think I don't want that, you'd be wrong.
Well, speaking of movie people, I finally watched a movie last week.
Oh my God.
I talked about that Succession show. I still don't know if I like it, but I've now watched all of it, so fucking whatever. I guess I'm going to finish it. But right before you got here, I finished watching the Ant-Man and the Wasp in Quantumania.
Yeah. Super enjoyable. 10 out of 10. 10s across the board.
Nah. It was fine. It was okay.
Yeah. You were a fan of Kang from Loki. Granted, he's only in like what, an episode
one
and
episode.
a half. And it seemed like that was the reason why you wanted to watch Quantumania. Did this scratch your Kang itch?
Actually, I really wasn't. I was a moderate fan of Kang and Quantumania. I always thought that the character in Quantumania was more of an Immortus than Kang, because Marvel, those two are the same character, different points in the timeline. Right. Kang is more of like a beating people up guy, and Immortus is more of like a chess master guy.
Yeah,
and then they fight each other a lot. So I was like, but what I was more interested in was the fact that it seemed like it had more focus, and it seemed like the first time that Ant-Man was going to be like involved with more of like the A plot of the MCU, because if you think of like the villains in the previous two Ant-Man movies who just they're completely forgettable, right?
Yeah. I couldn't name one now if you held a gun to my head.
The first one was the Yellow Jacket, and then the second one was Ghost.
Yeah. Barely a villain, right?
Yeah, there was that one business guy, and then there was like Morpheus was there, and
like
I don't really remember what happened to that. The feds were chasing him. It was like The Fugitive, but then there was also like a lady. I don't Anyway,
a lady fugitive. Now I've seen everything.
The lady fugitive. It was okay, but I feel like it suffers from a lot of from this thing that I see not just the MCU doing, but the MCU does it a lot. A lot of movies do it. There are just too many fucking people in that movie for a 2-hour movie for it not to feel like a bunch of people are getting short shrift. And in this movie, I feel like specifically Hope, the Wasp, doesn't have much of an arc. That's the problem, is that nobody really has a growing arc. Nobody like starts the movie with a problem and then like learns and grows and becomes a different person at the end.
That's the problem with having an entire universe, like a cinematic universe, is that you don't have to, because now the arc has to be within the entirety of a phase as opposed to the movie.
Yeah, so that was kind of my problem with it, because if you think about just like, and here's another thing. So the Ant-Man and the Wasp plan is 5 fucking people. It's Hank Pym, it's Janet Van Dyne, it's Hope Pym, it's Scott Lang, and it's Cassie Lang. So you have 5 guys on like the good guy team, and then you've got Kang, who is a really strange character who you need to set up. Like, why are they here? What are they doing? You need to introduce them for anybody that hasn't seen Loki. So, like, that's 6 characters. But then what I didn't realize is there's a bunch of other people in that movie, and there's like the guy that plays Chidi in The Good Place is in there, and there's like a lot of other. The guy that plays Polka Dot Man plays a CGI monster, and like there's all
really. I mean, because he was one of the guy who plays Polka Dot Man was also already in Ant-Man.
Was he?
Yeah, he was like one of the ex-cons that worked with him.
Oh, I could have it wrong, but anyway, it was just like there was a shitload going on, and like again, I think that I like movies where the characters have like a conflict that they have to get through. It makes me much more connected to the character, which means I have a lot more invested in like what happens. I did think it was interesting because the quantum realm stuff, like I haven't seen anything that looks like that since like Thor Ragnarok, you know, of like really different looking. So it was okay. And it was only 2 hours long, which was the very good thing in my book.
Yeah.
It moved really fast, but it was kind of slight. Like it just didn't have a lot of like meat on it was like a hamburger as opposed to a steak, you know?
They just cram in a little too much in there, and you get nothing out of anything. There's
also like a callback. I don't want to know how much to spoil, but like people talked about this in the trailer, that there's like a character that you're seeing again, and like there's just too much for one movie. Like I kind of feel that, you know, they kind of set up a primary conflict about how like Scott is like kind of aimless after the Endgame stuff.
Yeah,
like he's doing like media tours. He's not really doing hero work as much anymore. Well, like his daughter kind of wants to be like an activist, and she has like a real, you know, and so he wants to keep her out of trouble, but she keeps getting into trouble, and she's like, you're not doing anything in your life. And I was like, okay, well that's a good conflict. And if they had just like had those two go, it was Cassie and Scott and Kang, and then some of the crazy new people. Who was the Taika Waititi character, like the equivalent of Korg and Meek, right? Like in this Quantumania, and then put Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer on the other end of the radio, talking to them, like explaining stuff. But like the main thing is going to be that they're coming down there, and Cassie wants to help with what's going on in the quantum realm, and Scott wants to keep her safe. And it's like, it's that classic, like you got to let your kids go type of thing. Easy peasy, no problem. Then you could have spent a lot more time focusing on the growth and change of that arc, as opposed to 6 characters with a problem, but with no real like emotional growth.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
But it's kind of like to me describing like every Marvel movie, because it's just a lot of the like, they throw so many like cogs in their machine that you don't really remember what the purpose of the machine was for anymore. You're just seeing shit spin, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It was better than, what was the one before that?
The Ant-Man movie or the Marvel movie before that?
The Marvel movie before Ant-Man. Was it Love and Thunder?
I think it was Love and Thunder.
I didn't like Love and Thunder because that was like, I don't know, it was weird.
I've been off of Marvel for a while, but I didn't watch Love and Thunder because I don't like the Mighty Thor comic.
Right.
So
better than Eternals, better than Love and Thunder. Not as good as Spider-Man.
I mean,
and then probably not as good as
like Doctor Strange and
I hated that movie. I really, really disliked that movie. That was another movie where it was like I feel like you had too many characters and too many plots. Right?
I mean, that seems to be the like new flavor of it. Is just like throwing so much.
Oh no, it was Wakanda Forever. I think was the last one. I saw,
you're right. Yeah,
and that one too, where I was like, again, I thought it had a really strong base, but then they kept adding. Like they added Ironheart in there. I talked about this on a previous podcast, but like I felt that like, and it wasn't like you guys shoving more black ladies in my Marvel movie.
It's just more like too many characters, and you can't. Right. None of them can grow or develop because they're only on screen for 6 minutes.
You've got in that movie, you had the entirety of Wakanda dealing with the death of T'Challa, and then you also had this threat of Namor and the Atlanteans, like you know, and then. But then you also had this whole thing with Ironheart, and I felt bad because it was like she deserved her own thing instead of just being a side character in this Wakanda movie. And then you had all this stuff with Frodo, Bilbo, the government guy. What the fuck is his name? You know who I'm talking about?
I do, but but you called
Martin
him Bill
Freeman. Martin Freeman, is that his name?
Maybe, yeah. You threw out Bilbo, and my whole brain just stopped working.
Yes, Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman and fucking Elaine from Seinfeld, and like the U.S. government and all this weird stuff, and it was just like, no. Fucking calm down a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, in fairness, Martin Freeman was in the last
Black Panther.
Yeah,
it's in Black Panther 1. But like, I think he had more of a role in some ways in Black. Well, maybe even not then, but I don't know. I feel like this isn't even a new problem. I feel like this is a problem that's been around for a long fucking time. This is something that I used to say. I first came up with this criticism when I watched Batman Begins, the first one, because it was like you have 3 different entire ass villains mixed in with Batman's origin story, and that's too much fucking movie for any of those people to get. That was why the second one was so good because, well, and like I think that. You know, everybody likes the Joker, right? But then on the other hand, they had to shove Two-Face in there, and that was kind of like, why is this a thing?
I always think it's really weird that every Batman movie, maybe barring, I haven't seen the newest one, so I don't recall entirely, but like every Batman movie requires 2 or more villains. Like they constantly have it's always like Penguin and Catwoman. It's always, you know what I mean, like Two-Face and the Riddler. But
I mean, you think about Dark Knight, which is like one of the best regarded ones, and it was mostly Joker with like a little bit of, you know, you throw in Two-Face at the very end of the movie. What does he do? He kills like 1 cop or like 3 cops or something. Like he doesn't do that much, and you could
I mean, if anything, it could serve as like a origin story for him more than anything, and then it's like but no.
So anyway, I need to go off my rants. We do have the news. Before we get to the news, Amanda, how about you? Did you watch or do anything?
So funny story. I do the exact opposite. I can't do, you know, all the bits and bops of like a Marvel movie. So I've been looking for the opposite of that. So like, I think on one of our videos, I talked about that I watched the movie The Man from Earth, which is from like 2007 or something like that.
Okay.
And that's just people in a room having a conversation. It's literally written like a play. So it's, you know, one set, just people talking. And I was like, more of that, just that. I just want good dialogue. And so I was looking for movies similar to, and I ended up happening upon Sunset Limited. Which is a 2011 film.
Wow.
It's on HBO Max. I think it's 2011. No,
The Sunset Limited.
Yes. So Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay.
Tommy Lee Jones is like a professor who tries to commit suicide. This happens before the movie starts.
Okay.
He tries to commit suicide. Samuel Jackson is just like a working man, like ex-con who's like super spiritual. He ends up saving him, so he tries to throw himself. Tommy Lee Jones tries to throw himself on the subway tracks, the Sunset Limited tracks, and Samuel Jackson saves him, brings him to his apartment, and then the whole point is he's trying to keep him in his apartment to prevent him from leaving, so he doesn't go out and try to kill himself again.
Wow!
And so they have this. It's all it is a conversation between the two of them. Yeah, it's based on a Cormac McCarthy play, which he never, when coming to life and death, Cormac McCarthy is not the person you need to go to
right.
if you want a happy ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like it's these two people, a clear like atheist professor who just wants to die, who just doesn't like the world, he doesn't like his life, he doesn't like anything, and then this spiritual person who's been through like hell and back, trying to convince him of the beauty of living. And it
was directed by Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that. It's great.
Oh, okay.
I loved it.
Wow.
It's very short. I think it's only like an hour and a half, maybe
91 minutes.
Yeah, and I think it's great. If you want, and the best thing about these kinds of movies, and this is gonna sound bad, I understand like the beauty of cinema. Believe me, I understand it. But like for what I want personally right now, I want it so bare bones that I can just do something else and listen to them talk, and I don't have to sit there and watch them. They're just in a apartment the entire time. They're in a single room the whole time, and they're just talking and debating and arguing and like.
What's that? Have you watched then that? What is it? Is it My Dinner with Andre?
No, that's on my list now. Okay. I just like
you go through all the two people talking movies.
Yeah, no, really, because I don't know. We were talking about the Marvel movies, but it feels like a lot of movies are like that right now, where it's just like, did we like think about Bullet Train or John Wick and obviously these aren't those action movies. And if you want an action movie, that go get an action movie. But I also wouldn't. I wanted to rewatch and just didn't get a chance to Vast of Night, which is very dialogue heavy science fiction, right? Where like the people in the 1950s,
radio station,
a guy works in a radio station and they pick up like a signal of a UFO, and it's like them dealing with like the people in town. There's like these beautiful long shots of like uncut. Long shots of like the whole town and things like that. It was just fucking awesome to watch. Okay. But it's very dialogue driven. Annihilation, kind of similar idea. Science fiction, a lot more dialogue than there is action. Doesn't mean there's not action in it, but it's just like the purpose of it is less to bombard you with too much stuff and more to just like let you fucking, I don't know, like think into it, you know?
Yeah. I'm just surprised of all those that you haven't mentioned that in the dirt.
So I haven't seen that yet. I bought it on Blu-ray and it literally comes in on Saturday, which is when I'm gonna watch it.
All right,
because I'm like you and I have talked about. I love Benson and Moorhead. I haven't seen it yet, and when I had mentioned watching The Man from Earth, you said I should watch it, and
okay.
So there.
We will expect, we'll expect some more updates as you get through with your two people talking.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys have recommendations for two people talking movies, I've
got one. It's called the RageSelect podcast. It's just two people talking.
Oh, never mind. I'm over it. I'll just go watch Quantumania.
I need 8 characters.
I've heard these two people talk before.
Oh, well, you know what? We have dallied long enough. It's time for the news. It's time to get the two people talking show on the road.
Hell yeah.
This week, unfortunately, the largest news is we're back to Microsoft and Activision Blizzard and that whole fucking thing. So this week, there's so many players in this thing, and like the most contentious one right now, or the one that is up in this news story, is the CMA, which is the
Country Music Awards. I made that joke last time.
Competition and Markets Authority in the UK.
Yeah.
Which last I heard was leaning towards yeah. It has apparently officially now said nah.
Oh.
It's very strange, though, because I read their full report. And the thing that they talk about, the thing is that, like, I don't really know. A lot of this probably comes from the fact that, like, my dad's a fucking libertarian and I was raised in the 90s and, like, I'm an American and stuff like that. But it's like they kind of, okay, so all the normal stuff that kind of goes out for reasons for the deal not to go through, you know, Call of Duty will get taken away. You've got, you know, exclusives getting pulled away. You're consolidating too much power under one thing. They focused explicitly on cloud gaming, which I found really strange. Now, the thing is that I might just be pulling my cheeks apart and talking directly out of my butthole right here, because I don't do a lot of cloud gaming, and when I do it on NVIDIA GeForce Now, because that shit gives me access to a 4090 at 100 billion frames per second. And I find the Xbox xCloud stuff to be like total garbage. Bad resolution. It always takes forever. It's always fucked up. But apparently the CMA has decided that, like, because Microsoft has such a big market share in this infrastructure, if they were to acquire Activision, they could use Call of Duty in a cloud service as a way to corner the budding cloud gaming market, which is a really weird argument to me, because Microsoft went on a spree of signing 10-year deals with GeForce Now and 2 different European companies that do exactly this thing, that provide remote systems that you can rent and then stream the games from to your whatever, to your browser, right? And so, like, I some of me thinks that, like, they don't understand what the fuck they're talking about, because one, they keep talking about how, like, Microsoft owns Windows, right? And that, like, Windows makes it so that they're going to corner the PC platform for streaming, but it's like, but you don't have to have Windows a lot of times to use these streaming platforms. They can take place in, like, a browser, right? Like, you don't have to have Windows. It just depends on whether you have the Microsoft. I mean, for xCloud, it goes to the Xbox app, I guess, which is on Windows. But the other thing is that, I don't know, I have this weird philosophical problem with, like, before xCloud even existed, there was a company called, I can't remember. There was a streaming company that Sony purchased. And before Microsoft had ever started streaming, Sony used that to create PlayStation Now, which was streaming PS3 games on the PS4 as a way to do backwards compatibility. So instead of being able to run PS3 games, you could stream them on a server. Microsoft have nothing to do with that. Like, they bought this company, they built up their servers, they did nothing with the technology, and it was always bad. Like, they didn't enhance it. GeForce Now has been around for way before that, and so Microsoft saw that this was a direction that the markets were going, and then they leveraged the fact that they're a huge fuck-off corporation to basically, like, build a bunch of servers and start running this tech. In fact, 2 years ago, Microsoft and Sony signed an agreement to work together with streaming technology, like, in the background, kind of as a tech development deal. So the idea that it's like, well, you know, Microsoft is going to corner the market on streaming, and it's kind of like, I don't think that's true. Because it seems like what you need is the capital to buy server space, and you too can have a streaming platform. You know who had a streaming platform? Google. Right? And that didn't work not because of, like, that worked because they didn't make it work. You know who currently has a streaming platform that nobody ever talks about? Amazon. It's called Amazon Luna, and I've got the fucking controller sitting right over there for it. Like,
collecting dust.
Right. So the reason that the xCloud stuff has worked is because of Game Pass, because Microsoft is willing to let people play larger games through their subscription service. It's not the tech, it's mostly the Game Pass service. And I don't see how, like, blocking this merger is going to cause the competition to get any better, because GeForce Now is already a better product. Amazon Luna isn't doing shit. Sony hasn't touched their streaming service in a long time, and it's garbage. And so it's like, if you wanted to compete, compete. Like, don't just put up regulatory barriers to mean that Xbox can't buy Activision because of the like one argument over here.
Yeah.
Not the entire rest of this. Not the fact that Starfield is an Xbox exclusive. Like the next Bethesda game is a fucking Xbox exclusive. Like that's fucking huge.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've been running at the mouth. Like,
No.
what do you think about this?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess it just depends on whether or not we think that the merger would be a good thing or a bad thing in general. And then because if it's like, look, we think it's going to be bad, so any excuse to make it not happen, I'm fine with.
Sure.
But if it's like, no, like it's good, and therefore we should be mad about this. But I don't know either way. I'm not like a huge fan of Activision right now, but
or Blizzard for that matter.
Yeah, or Blizzard. So like, I don't really know. I just think I think you're right. It is kind of weird to be this. It almost feels very. If we look into the far future, this is what could possibly maybe happen, and it's
right.
like they've had every opportunity to do that before this and haven't done it, but now you think they will.
Yeah, like we had an argument, not you and I, but there was an argument that was brought up a little while back that was very confusing to me, where it was just like, well, Microsoft is gonna pay money to make games only come out on their platform, and it's like, yeah. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
Sony does that. Sony did that with Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They had timed exclusivity on the DLC maps for Call of fucking Duty for like the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And they only got that because they outbid Microsoft once their contract was up. Like, I don't understand this whole just like, I don't know. Maybe the thing is that like this organization, like their job is to like look into the future and be like, well, if this continues down this road, then like maybe this will happen.
I think no matter what, we're already down the road where like there's 2, possibly 3 companies that are just taking over everything. We're headed towards the gaming singularity.
Yeah, I think about that, right? Mm-hmm. But then like, but I think that a lot of times this stuff gets obscured by the fact that it's like, you know, EA's still independent, right? Like, there's plenty of EA shit coming out. I just played the Dead Island 2 from Dambuster, which is owned by Deep Silver, which I believe is now under the Embracer Group, which came out of nowhere as like a giant development place.
Yeah.
Like, and then a lot of the best games that I've played over the last few years, they're not Microsoft, or they're not even big publishers. They're independent games, right? Like the toolkits that a lot of independent developers are able to use can now create like way more high profile games just with a very small studio. So it's almost like, well, yes, if you want to collect all of the slow lumbering dinosaurs that have been steadily making worse and worse, more and more derivative games with like less value and more chaff and more DLC all under the same giant umbrella of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's great. We're going to be out here playing fucking the Curse of the Golden Idol and going like, what the fuck? This is like, I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, but then a lot of this too, I don't think you can, with emergent tech like cloud gaming, I don't think you can second guess the future like this.
Yeah.
Like the problem is that this assumes that where we are right now, that in 10 years it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Because like, what if 5 years from now Nintendo patents a streaming AI hybrid tech where you can have a fucking 3G signal and yet you've got an AI making up all the difference in detail that you're losing, and suddenly you can do cloud gaming off of a laptop in your own house or a Raspberry Pi or something with like ultra low resolution like stopgap stuff in the middle. Like there's just no way to tell what the fuck is going to happen.
Yeah, it's hard, especially the way technology will just like right turn you with one thing developing, where you're just like, well, nobody cares about this, and then all of a sudden one thing comes out, becomes a hit, and then everyone's like, we only care about this.
Right. Like what if Sony has said they've got 6 different live service games that they're working on over the next like 2 or 3 years. And what if one of those turns into the next like PUBG, like the next Fortnite, right? And suddenly it's like Sony has 80% market share, and it doesn't matter what the fuck they put on Game Pass because they've got the thing that all the kids want to play.
Yeah.
And suddenly they revamp their streaming tech, and it's great. All that could happen, and Microsoft could also buy Activision at the same time.
Yeah.
It's possible within 5 years there may be a new multiplayer game that comes out that makes Call of Duty look like garbage, and everybody that plays Call of Duty is like, fuck that. I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege 2.
Yeah.
Like the era I'm playing Counter-Strike 2, right? CS:GO 2.
Yeah.
And the era of Call of Duty is over. We all play Counter-Strike 2 now, and both of these things are gone. Everybody wants a PC to play Counter-Strike 2.
And I think the funny thing about video games especially is it is ridiculously hard to predict what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And what hits were like, you cannot tell me that people knew that like Untitled Goose Game was going to be one of the biggest fucking games of that year.
Sure.
Like, it's just a whim of what everyone's in the mood for, what's happening in the world around us. Yep. You know what I mean?
I mean, if Animal Crossing hadn't come out during a global fucking pandemic when people couldn't leave their houses, I bet that Nintendo would be like, $500 billion less rich than they are now.
Yeah, it would have been like #1 game for until the next new game came out, not wildly took over people's lives for a year.
Yeah. So I don't know. I disagree with this. And I want to go back to the question that you just asked, is I've been racking my brain for a long time over like, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? I don't think there's any way to tell.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Microsoft as a company is titanic, and I think that they've changed the game by, instead of, it used to be you would develop your own gaming titles internally. Like, think about the idea that Microsoft's Halo team is crumbling. Like, Microsoft used to sell systems on Halo and Call of Duty.
I know, isn't that
Gears of War?
Yeah.
And like, those games are just like gone.
Yeah.
And it's been like 5 years. Like, some of the biggest fucking multiplayer games in the world are now just like, whatever.
Thing of the past. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea that it's like, well, that we can make any prediction. Like, it could end up being that Microsoft gets a bunch of studios, they gobble them all up, and then they raise the price of Game Pass, and we all are like, boo. But then that could also lead to the rise of like huge indie teams like starting up new companies, or things like Embracer Group and Sony team up and fight back, or like EA and Ubisoft merge with Embracer Group into this new polyglot that's like making good stuff, or like Square Enix shoots all of their board of directors and hires new people that like video games and they start putting out games
so we're just
like.
We're just making little like genie wishes now, huh?
This is just Jeff's fan fiction. So I don't know. I'd be interested to know what people think in the comments. Whenever I talk about this, people love to write
long.
Ooh, I get that YouTube notification and I see the wall and I'm just like, ooh, because I gotta tell you guys, even if you format it on YouTube with like paragraph breaks,
it just
the email notification has the wall. So all right, well, I wish I could say that was the last Xbox news we have, but we got a lot. So
that's the theme.
Yep, sort of. Microsoft released their financial report and said that the Xbox sales are down 30% for the last quarter.
Oh, no. Is that not expected? I mean, Xbox has been around for a hot minute at this point. Or the latest console has been around for the hot minute.
See, I think 30% sounds like a lot, but I think that this is probably, we're seeing the same thing. I don't have the story for it, but we're seeing the same thing with the video cards right now, is that this is the market correcting for like, this came out, it was incredibly hard to get, and then it was incredibly hard to get for a while. And then I think that the reason you're seeing this slump is because Xboxes became not hard to get.
Yeah.
And so everybody that was waiting or trying to get one finally got one. And now we're just, because, eventually everybody that wants it buys it.
Yeah.
And then, you're into a more long-term, shallow slope upwards as opposed to, the big spikes. So I think that that's probably where we are right now. Also, it should be, fucking needs be remarked that, like, what are you buying an Xbox for right now? Like, Minecraft Legends.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a Halo, there's not a Gears of War, there's not a Forza.
Yeah.
Like Starfield is not coming out till later this year. I'd be willing to bet you probably see a bump in the fourth quarter.
Microsoft owns Double Fine, so
yeah.
That's it. I mean, they haven't put anything out since the Psychonauts, but
Psychonauts 2 is very good though.
I know, dude. We had so much fun with Psychonauts
That was good.
2. But I'm just saying, therefore, I have to have an Xbox.
Yeah. So there was also a content and revenue increased by 3%. So people are still buying games and stuff. I just think that this is just the market evening out. So it's
I mean, honestly, that's not concerning. If it was like above 50%, I'd be like, shit, something's going on. But like 30% sounds like what normally happens when you have a product that was new and is less new. Like it makes sense. You're not going to have the same amount of demand.
It's also worth pointing out that I feel like Microsoft has set themselves up for this in some ways because like if you buy Game Pass, you also get stuff on the PC. Like all those games that come out for the Xbox Series X also come out on the same day for the PC. So they've literally there's not a console exclusive. Like I can't play God of War Ragnarok on my PC, but I can play the last, Minecraft Legends or Forza or Sea of Thieves or any of the stuff that's on Xbox. I can play all of that on my PC. So there's less of a reason that you need to have that one particular box than there is for the Switch or the PS5 right now. So I think it makes a certain amount of sense. Let's see.
It's all coming together.
We also got the news that we haven't talked about this very much in this podcast, but do you know what an API is? An API is?
No.
It's like the when you put out a piece of software, you'll write an API so that other people's software can interact with your software.
Okay.
So let's say you had a social media company and you wanted other places to be able to post on your social media, you would need to write a protocol that was like a bridge between the other people and your software, and then they could post stuff.
The middleman
directly.
To get one from thing to the next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know about this, but Twitter has an API on it.
Oh, God.
And
I'm already scared.
Monsieur Musk decided that if you wanted to keep using the Twitter API, you got to pay for it.
Jesus Christ.
On a monthly basis. So
the amount of not paying for it I would be doing.
Dude, I was on Twitter yesterday and a thing kept coming up on my timeline and then disappearing before I could click on it.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at it in a browser. I was like, what is happening?
Yep.
Mr. Musk, get your shit together.
He will not. Don't ask him to.
But Xbox dropped support for posting shares and stuff to Twitter because Microsoft is not about to pay some fucking emerald farmer for access to his dumb bird platform.
This stupid fucking bird platform.
Microsoft is evaluated in the trillions. They're like a $3 trillion company.
Yeah, they're like, we're not paying $8 a month.
Right, exactly. So yeah. The estimation here is that it would have cost Microsoft $42,000 a month.
Fuck no.
Which is chump change to Microsoft, but also I can see somebody just being like, no, I don't even give a shit anymore. Just
it's like chump change for such a large corporation. Like, of course, that is not a whole lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's a person's salary.
Yep.
No, absolutely the fuck not. Per month.
Per month?
That's somebody's yearly salary per month.
Yep.
That's 12 employees a year you could have hired.
Yeah. Currently, Nintendo and Sony both still have their Twitter sharing thing turned on, but who knows how long that'll last. I don't know. There was also
it's a principle of the matter.
There's also a weird fucking thing where Microsoft removed support for Twitter through its advertising platform. And then what they said there was a news thing that said Microsoft drops Twitter from its advertising platform as they refuse to pay Twitter's API fees, and then Elon Musk wrote they trained illegally using Twitter data, lawsuit time. And I'm like, oh, please sue them. Yeah. I've never wanted to root for Microsoft in my life, but if anybody will crush your tiny dreams,
let them fight.
Let them fight. Exactly. Yeah. But hey, good news.
Good news.
We got for Microsoft and Game Pass, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the multiplayer game coming out in August, is going to be on Game Pass.
Nice.
So day one on Game Pass. This is the one from.
You got to get Jason on that.
I'm just gonna.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre's favorite movie.
Oh no! Yeah, no, I know. I'm just gonna get. I'm gonna like put Jason and Brian in the same Brian Salisbury, and I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk away and keep like throwing Gatorade and power bars in until they say, okay, we're done. Yeah. Maybe throw Tony in there with them.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Shut down the website.
Jesus. That sounds mildly scary for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, September 18th. This is the one from the guys that made.
That says August 18th, motherfucker.
The Friday the 13th game. That then got really fucked up because of the rights stuff, got all jerked around, and then they just kind of moved on to the next horror thing, I guess.
I mean, and that's all you got to do, really.
I was really weird. I was
Slasher fans understand. You just move on to the next corpse.
I was looking at it, and apparently it was like, okay, well,
based on true events. I can't believe it still says that.
You can play as Leatherface, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can also play as the Hitchhiker or the Butcher. And I'm like, who wants to play as those guys? I mean, like, it's fine, but like, who wants to play as those guys? You want to play as Leatherface when you're playing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Or Dennis Hopper with two chainsaws.
Yeah, like, obviously.
Yeah. Why is he killing teenagers? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's a video game. Why wouldn't you kill teenagers?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It looks really brutal.
Yeah, it looks like the first movie.
Yep. Let's see. From there, we're going to move on over to Activision Blizzard. We got a report last week that Blizzard is apparently going to be hit with a lawsuit for $43.5 million over the fact that they pulled out of the Chinese market, because if you're doing business in China, you have to have a Chinese company that does your business. So they contracted with a Chinese company called NetEase to basically do all of their multiplayer games. Something happened. There's some rumors. The talks between them broke down, and Blizzard was basically just like deuces.
Yeah.
And so World of Warcraft, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Overwatch. Overwatch 2 is still working, and Diablo Immortal still working. Every other Blizzard game offline, can't play. And this lawsuit was supposed to be, it was originally reported that it was due to refunds that Blizzard owed people, where they said, if our games don't work, you can get your money back. And then they didn't pony up the money, and so NetEase had to pay out the refunds.
Oh, and so they're looking to get compensated.
Right.
Gotcha.
However, shocking plot twist, this is not a real thing.
You lied to me.
I did. It was a shocking twist.
Leave a comment below if Jeff also played you for the fool.
So what was really interesting was that this wasn't a lawsuit by NetEase. This is a lawsuit by a kind of notorious like court troll in China called Yang Jun, who filed his brief and just put NetEase's name on it. Like, me and those guys over there are totally suing Blizzard.
Jesus Christ.
So the Chinese news picked it up, and they were like, Blizzard's getting sued by NetEase. And then they looked into it further and went like, that's actually not what's happening here.
It's like,
yeah.
Blizzard, meanwhile, was like, huh?
Yeah.
What happened?
Blizzard was like my dog when small dogs go to bark at my dog.
Huh?
Oh, what the fuck?
Huh?
Yeah, they literally put out a statement saying, we haven't received a lawsuit yet, but we are confident we aren't in breach of any licensing agreements. I don't think that Blizzard offered to refund every single person in China who bought their stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a reasonable thing that they would do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're more of a take the money and run kind of company.
Yeah.
You know, just a little.
Yeah. speaking of taking your money,
The Xbox.
Diablo will take your money. Diablo 4 will take your money.
Oh.
But this before that happens, they are having one more open beta. I'm just putting this out there for people who are interested. March 24th to 26th, they're having this is an everything. In fact, they want everybody to get online.
This is an all-in, baby. Oh, are we stress testing that bitch?
Wait, no. I said March, not March. This is May.
Yeah, I was gonna say bad news.
Sorry, this is May 12th through the 14th. And they actually do want to stress test the servers.
Yeah, if they want everyone on, I imagine that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. The weird thing about this is that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe May 12th is the day that Tears of the Kingdom comes out.
Ooh.
And so if you want to do a stress test, doing it on the weekend that the new Zelda game comes out might not be the best time to do that, Blizzard. I'm just saying.
Jump in, just for a little bit.
But yes, you can mark the date if you don't have a Switch.
Okay, but if the game doesn't work, if it crashes, if the server crashes, that's your guys' fault for not participating in the stress test.
Yeah. I think it's going to crash anyway. I think anybody that expects an online game to be up within the first 24 hours.
Oh, we're going to have this conversation, Jeff, because how many times have you been like, it'll be fine. It comes out tonight. We'll record tonight. And then you go, what? It's not working. It took an hour and a half to get into my first.
That hasn't happened for a while. Okay?
I'm sure.
That hasn't happened for a while.
That's only because you go, we'll just do my backup plan, and you jump to the backup plan.
Hey, at least I have backup plans.
That's fair.
At least I have backup plans now.
That is true. At least I have backup plans now. Before, I would just be crying. Crying with a load screen. Just,
There was one. Is it Michael and I were trying to get into something? I don't remember what it was, but yeah. Speaking of Diablo 4, we got a few little news bites, and there were two things that I thought were kind of interesting. The first one is that apparently once you've beaten Diablo 4, you can completely skip the whole single-player campaign.
Huh?
Diablo 4, the end game online content a lot of times is what people really want, and so if you created a character and then you want to create a second character, you don't want to have to replay the entire game to get to the end game content.
In my head, it sounded like you went, if you beat the game, then what you can do is not play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how to skip the campaign. I just don't play it.
Yeah, you just start up Elden Ring and then you hit the skip campaign button and it shows you the end credits. Hey, I beat it. Yeah, amazing.
There's a little section in the options that just show you the end credits. That's how I like to skip the campaign.
Yep. I just want to see the after credits stinger. That's all I really want to see. Yeah. So this was part of, like I said, this is part of a little video that came out. I wasn't really interested in watching too much of it. The other thing, though, that I learned that I thought was really a bummer, man, was that Diablo 4 has horses, has like mounts. You don't get to mount until you've fully beaten the game. So,
but why?
Well, because it appears that Blizzard, in their fucking infinite wisdom, has decided that, like, if you had a mount, you wouldn't spend enough time, like, kind of wandering through the world and, like, encountering all the stuff that they've put in there. And so you can't use the horse until you've beaten the game, at which point you could totally skip the campaign, or you could use the horse to get around the campaign more quickly. And it's kind of like, do you guys want me to play this game or not?
Right? It's like really confusing.
Because
that's a really pretty horse.
Ghost horse with the bones.
Yeah, his little skelly bones. Inside every horse is a skeleton just trying to get out.
Yep. So yeah, I don't entirely understand this, especially because a lot of the gameplay footage that they've shown has shown characters riding horses, and I'm I expected to be able to have a horse.
Now I can't have a horse?
I mean, also you're talking about a game that has like town portals and teleportations and stuff like that, but like
actually all those you have to beat the game 4 times.
Okay.
But you don't have to beat the game because you can skip the campaign and then you don't have to worry about it.
I don't really understand Diablo 4 all that much, because it seems like one of those things where it's like, we're making this for the hardcore people that want to only play Diablo 4, but we're also making it for the casual people that only want to play Diablo 4 once. And it's like, Those two people
Yeah,
aren't the
those are
same
like, yeah.
people, so
You can't make both of them happy.
Yeah.
Fuck the newbies.
yeah.
Yeah. I've never played a Diablo game, so what do I know? Not gonna start with this one. Can't even get a horse.
Well, you just gotta beat the game. Get a horse.
If I beat the game, I'm not gonna go back and be like, yeah, but now I'm gonna play horse mode. I'm not that kind of girl.
Are you telling me that you don't have time to play an entire video game, then once you get to the end, play it more? Forever?
No.
Never stop playing it?
No.
Just play one game for the rest of your life?
No.
God, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, no.
Blech.
Do not want.
Well, speaking of games you can not play for the rest of your life, how about Overwatch 2?
Done.
Overwatch 2 had the new hero, Lifeweaver. Have you seen Lifeweaver?
Ooh, Life Weaver.
He's
flamboyant.
Yeah, he's canonically bi, which is apparently a big thing. And he's
too.
all like
He is
he's pretty fabulous.
My
He's got
God.
the pink
Yeah,
pink
I've
flowers.
seen some things, but mainly because I believe my site at TikTok really likes the gays.
Yep.
So
He has, I don't know if they fixed it yet, but like he has this power where he can grab teammates and pull them over towards him, or shield them and pull them in to heal them.
Yeah.
And like
that's kinda neat.
immediately people would stand on a ledge, grab somebody, pull them, and get out of the way, and then just like let them go over off the side of the thing. And it's like
grief your own team.
Yep. So big news. Apparently, I don't really follow Overwatch news, and this is a weirdly slow news week, so that's why I'm talking about this. But they're revamping all the controls for this guy.
No. That's kind of standard, though. They bust out a new character, and then they kind of see how they want people to play them, and then how they actually play them, and then try to find a like happy medium between that.
Yeah. It appears that they're changing his primary attack. Used to be like everybody was using the secondary fire as a primary fire, so they're making that the primary fire, and they're putting there's like a pedal platform, and then like the rejuvenating dash has been moved to a double jump, so it's closer to like what Hanzo does. Anyway, go check it out if you're playing Overwatch 2, or stop playing Overwatch 2. Either way, it's fine with me. Let's see. Speaking of multiplayer online games, I have one last update. This is a story that came up last week, and it makes me laugh. Cliffy B has been talking about trying to bring back Lawbreakers.
We played Lawbreakers, didn't we?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. If not for a dojo, then for a stream, I believe we played Lawbreakers.
Yeah, I only faintly remember it.
It was like came out a year
but
after
I also only
Overwatch.
faintly remember yesterday, so
yeah,
time.
So last week we talked about how Cliffy B was tweeting about trying to get the rights to Lawbreakers, and then he found out that Nexon has the rights to Lawbreakers, and so he tweeted like at the CEO of Nexon, asking like, hey, how about slide into my DMs so we can talk about...
Don't say it like that, Cliffy B. Come on. You're making people uncomfortable.
But then, like, this is what I don't understand. So then somebody says, okay, there was that tweet where he said, get into my DMs so we can talk about a resurrection. And then somebody tweeted at him, I'd love to see you make another Jazz Jackrabbit game or something simple and retro. And Cliffy B says, kind of over the whole making game things for a while, mate. He says, oh, so you want to bring Lawbreakers back as something other than a game or question mark? And then he writes, I'm over being CEO and lead designer. Shiz is exhausting. But if a third party wants to resurrect it with Nexon, I'm down for consulting. It's like, who the fuck wants to bring back Lawbreakers? We didn't like Lawbreakers.
Yeah.
Like,
you're fighting to bring it back, and you don't even want to work on it.
Right. Somebody else do it. Do it for me.
This is 100% the same thing as when people like Stephen King should write a story about this thing, and Pedro Pascal should be in it. You guys are cowards. Do it. And it's like, what the fuck? You do it.
Right.
Why you're fighting for something nobody asked for?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's weird because it would be, it'd be like if Pedro Pascal was like, they should really make a sequel. They should really make a Last of Us season 2, and they're like, oh, cool. Are you signing on for it? Like, no, recast Joel. Like somebody else.
Like, I don't want to do it. Like,
I'll be like a producer or something, but
I'll
like
help him,
somebody else.
Get into the character, but I'm not going to be the character.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Cliffy B. Again, I have to reiterate this. Nobody but you cares about Lawbreakers. Yeah. Why would Nexon want to bring back Lawbreakers? It failed. It didn't make enough money, so it failed. Is there a thing on TikTok where all the like 9-year-olds are super duper into playing old builds of Lawbreakers? No.
No.
Is the answer.
100%? Nuh-uh.
Fortnite is a thing, and Overwatch exists. Nobody needs your discount diet like Overwatch clone.
Yeah.
With the
Kmart Overwatch.
I said this last week. Like the big thing with Lawbreakers was that there was a dedicated shoot behind your head button. Like there was a button you would hit Q and your guy would just shoot behind you. And it was always unclear to me why. Like you didn't have a rear view mirror to see if somebody was behind you. You could just shoot behind you. And then there was like some gravity stuff and the character designs were bad. Anyway. Well, speaking of stuff that people do want to see more of, Horizon got a press release where one of their I think it was like their one of their heads left, but they also talked about how they're planning on well, I don't know, this is very strange. There was a lot of like people announcing they're going to make another Horizon game. This is Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, not Forza Horizon or anything like that. Because they had this thing talking about how after 20 years, executive producer Angie, she's leaving. She's going to go do something else at PlayStation. And at the bottom, there's this thing that says, we have full confidence in our new leadership as they steer Guerrilla towards a bright future, expanding the world of Horizon with Aloy's next adventure and our exciting online project. And people have basically taken that and been like, confirmed. Third game.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it?
I don't shout confirmed third game about things anymore because I've been that's a curse.
Because Half-Life 3 is a thing.
Yeah. Nor is Portal 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to bet that Horizon has probably sold well enough that they're going to keep making them.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't think they would say something that specific.
Yeah,
you know, Aloy's next adventure. It really implies a sequel. It's not like they like read between the lines. They said next adventure.
That's true. Let's see
now whether or not they're actually working on something. Could be something, you know what I mean?
Oh boy, people are going to be mad now.
Uh-oh.
All right, one other thing that came up, and I feel like I want to talk about it, is Metacritic this week talked about how they are going to be implementing some new moderation features because people have been review bombing the DLC for Horizon Forbidden West that came out last week.
Why are they review bombing it?
It's a spoiler, but there's, let's say...
if there's an unspoiler way of doing it?
Okay.
Do a charades.
People are complaining about how woke the DLC is.
Okay.
That should give you a list of about 12 different things that it could be, and you can probably figure out which one it is when you look at Aloy and think about, and if you watch the trailer for the DLC. That's as specific as I'm going to get. I'll tell you what happened when we're not recording, just because I don't know if people haven't played it yet. I don't want to get up in people's business. However, I did want to say that I'm like, I'm really glad because the thing is that I've talked about this from time to time before, and I really want. There's one thing I want out of the AI future. I want to build an AI that can just sit between me and the internet. And if you say the word woke, I don't want to see whatever it is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I would be willing to say, I don't even want to have people censored or kicked off Metacritic. What I want is a switch that, like, I can type in keywords, and if it says woke or SJW or libtard,
chronically online,
or
get rid of that one.
Yeah, anything like that. Like, I want to see what the score is if we take your opinion out of it, because you have signaled to me that like what you care about is something that and this isn't even. I'm not even gonna. I mean, like, I'll say, like, generally when people use those words, I don't agree with them.
Yeah.
But
there is a rare occasion that I do.
But the thing is that even if we weren't talking about that, I would like the ability to be like, what is the user score if I remove these any review that has these keywords in it from it? Because the thing is that, like, typically the critic score is the one that I pay attention to. But sometimes there is like Mario movie, right, where the critic score is low and the user score is high, and sometimes it's the opposite, where the critic score is high and the user score is low. The thing is that like if it's like a 70 from critic score and it's like a 30 from user score, and then I click that button that turns off anything that says SJW and the user score goes up to like 67, then it's like, okay, I know that this is like, there isn't a contention here that isn't just a bunch of jerk faces or people that are just too invested, in my opinion, in that thing a few weeks back where somebody was talking about how the music in RE4 was woke, and it was like, how?
What?
Why?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And
explain yourself.
like, does it? Like, people got mad because the bathrooms on the Ishimura in the Dead Space remake were gender neutral bathrooms. It was like it's a men or women. I mean, those exist in real life. It's not like they made that up for the future.
That's not...
And people are like, this game is woke. And I'm like, okay.
Is our local Thunderclouds woke because they have gender neutral bathrooms?
If that's your criteria, then I don't want to know your opinion.
Yeah.
Have your opinion. You could have it. I just don't want it factored into the score. Like,
yeah, right. Like you're not the opinion I need to hear.
Yes. So I'm glad that they are doing this because it's also silly. I don't even like the Steam reviews that are just like, oh, it doesn't run over 30 frames per second, like thumbs down. And I'm like, it doesn't. Again, I've said before, it doesn't address the graphics, the music, the story quality, anything else. There was one thing that you were just like, it didn't do everything that I wanted, so 0 out of 10. And it's like, that's not how you review things.
You're bad at reviewing.
Right. I give you a 0 out of 10.
Yeah. I know nothing else about you but this one single fact, and yet I know.
Yeah. So I'm happy that that's happening. I don't know. Do you look at user reviews online?
Sometimes, but I usually just know what I will or won't want to play, and then everything else is like word of mouth.
Yeah.
But I do look up stuff, and then I'll like happen upon and I'll read reviews, and usually you can tell right away when you're not. It's like I don't go by scores. I don't care if it's this got a 98 on Rotten. I don't care.
Yeah.
I care about individual reviews. So like I'll read a couple of those for anything on Amazon or whatever, and if it's just like cuss words or like just I don't know, like trigger words, but you know, like this, what you were saying, just the like blah 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 woke, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah.
Because it's not even the argument I care about. I'm not particularly concerned if something's too woke. I've never watched something and been like, but is it? Is it too woke? That's weird.
I'm not concerned if it's too woke. I'm also not concerned if it's not woke enough.
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, is it good? And if that's your criteria, is if it's woke, then it's no good. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Because the inverse of that is also true. Because if it's not woke, they're not like wildly diverse characters or something.
Right.
But it's still an amazing gameplay or like a fantastic story. I think that's okay. Like, I think that's fine. Like, that's not to say you can't want more, but and you know, the next one should have more, or something should do something similar and be more like diverse or whatever you're looking for. But like, it shouldn't be the end all of your review.
Yeah. Yeah,
it could be a critique or a conversation to be had about, but if it's like therefore 0 out of 10,
right?
That's like
it's like when you have you ever like looked up like a restaurant that opens up near you, and it's like in the early days, so then they have a few Yelp reviews, and there's like one person that gives it like 0 stars on Yelp, and they're like, I had to wait for 25 minutes, and then when they brought my food, they didn't even refill my water, and it's like, Karen, that is not a 0 out of 5. That is 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Like, you had, just because you didn't have an orgasm when they gave you your fucking tater tots doesn't mean that this is a garbage place where nobody should ever go.
Never had that issue with tater tots.
All right, we're going to do more, but on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to have to go into turbo mode because I got too much. I put too much news buffet on my plate, and now it's not like I'm just going to throw it away.
You got to power through it. We got to rally.
Yep. All right, get ready, everybody. We'll be back in a minute. And we're back.
Here we are.
Yes, and we have more news. More news, Amanda.
I'm so excited.
Well, this is actually very exciting news.
Oh, yeah?
Let's start with something exciting. Sega of America workers are the latest game company workers to unionize or to start to unionize. This week, the Sega of America workers in California filed a union vote with the NLRB to basically become a union. And what I think is interesting about this was that it was across marketing, games of service, localization, product development, and QA. So
nice.
A lot of the previous ones we've seen have just been QA, which I think is like not really. It's not hard to understand if you've ever worked in QA why QA would be the first people to be like, I want more money.
Yeah.
I want to be able to use the bathroom where the real people are.
I want to be where the people are.
But yeah, and then Sega put out a statement that was fine. I mean, I don't know. It was like, well, wait, what was the...
Their statement was like, well, nothing we can do about it now.
There was... was it this? Like some of you... I swear to God, I'm sorry, I should have found this, but there was one where there was a guy who said... like, I don't really know anything about unions, so I'm going to have to, like, figure this out and then get back to you type of thing.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love the honesty.
But, yeah. It's from their official statement. It's actually from the president, Ian Curran. We received word yesterday that a petition has been filed with the NLRB by various SOA employees seeking union representation. Union matters are new to me, and we are investigating and considering the options available to the company. As I understand it, the petition filing means the NLRB will conduct a secret ballot election several weeks down the road for employees who are in specific job classifications to be determined by the NLRB. These employees will be voting for or against union representation. And then basically just goes on to say like they don't appear to have any like real serious, or at least they're not putting out statements that are just like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. You guys need to have your flexibility and all the normal talking points. I don't know. I think that they might be able to feel that like it's not really worth fighting this stuff as much anymore because
I feel like you're fighting progress if you fight a union. Because you're literally at this point, if you're fighting a union, you're like, no, I want to keep exploiting you though.
Right.
I want to exploit.
Yeah. I mean, there are reasons that direct employer relationships can be easier for everyone involved. The problem is that the employers right now are not keeping up their end of the bargain, which is like, paying you. And like that's kind of mostly what it is.
It's like, a lot of it. And general, like, we've seen a bunch of issues with people just like no PTO, no time off, or promised PTO. Like you have it, but they're never going to approve you getting any time off.
Yep.
Like that's crazy.
Yep. Let's see. In another game development news. God, I feel like this comes up every week now. Let's talk about Iron Mace, which is making the game Dark and Darker, which... For anybody who doesn't remember, I think you've been on for one of these. This is a bunch of guys that used to work for Nexon, and then they left to make a game. They were working on a prototype of a game called P3. They left Nexon and started up their own development studio and then created this game Dark and Darker. Nexon has decided that they stole the concept of the game that they were working on, and so they're going to do everything they can to fuck with them, including suing them. They got their game taken down off of Steam. There's a lot of stuff. Now, on the other hand...
one of them obsessed exotypes, huh?
Yes. So Iron Mace this week apparently wrote a letter to Steam to try to get their game reinstated.
Yeah.
And they make a really good point, which is that like Nexon is not making the game that they say that Iron Mace has ripped off. You can't copyright strike dark fantasy dungeon crawler game.
Yeah.
you're not even making it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even making the game. Like, it's not even in active development at the moment. So you can't even say that it's like a competing product, that like you're going to be damaging their stuff. This is just like Retribution. So they say, oh, these assets look too similar to ours. And they're like, we bought these assets from the Unreal store. Here are the receipts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't claim that we copied the assets when we purchased them from a third party and did not even develop them ourselves. Also, you can't just like take the concept of medieval fantasy dungeon thing and be like, we own that forever for everyone, which is a good point.
It's a very good point.
Yep. This kind of reminded me of the arguments with the CMA that we started out with, of just like, you can't go after somebody for like doing something where you're
but
like,
someday in the future,
right, I had that idea, and so you're not allowed to do that because I might want to do it someday.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't. Sorry, no.
Yeah,
that's not allowed.
That's not how any of this works.
Yeah. So, because last week they had a beta test, and they literally put out torrents of the game for people to download because they weren't on Steam. They had no way to download it. And then they had like patches, and they had to put out torrents with the patches for people to download.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Nexon, so I'm totally in Iron Mace's.
What else is Nexon done?
They're like a big publisher. The biggest thing they've probably done is MapleStory. I don't know if people remember MapleStory, but they're kind of just like a
shit looks generic as fuck.
Yeah, they're kind of like the phone games and like online games and Blue Archive. They did a Konosuba game. They did a Godzilla game.
Oh,
sorry,
sorry, Matt.
A lot fewer games. Oh, I think the MapleStory game that they made is just the mobile one.
Oh,
yeah, it's just the mobile
I
version.
faintly remember MapleStory art.
They're one of those like they're one of those Asian publishers that publishes stuff that like we don't really know about. Like, it's possible that
some of these are like super popular.
Yeah,
we just
Vindictus over here could be like the best-selling game in all of Korea, and that we've just never heard of it because it's not in the United States. Anyway, I think they're looking like a bunch of jerks right now.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, maybe one day they'll come and say, hey, Jeff, who are the jerks that should be shut down? And then I will have the power. I will have the ability to be like, those guys.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. Speaking of giant jerks, Trombone Champ added Flight of the Bumblebee.
Oh, my God.
into
So when are we doing a part 2 of this, Jeff?
That's a good question. They also added a practice mode where you could basically slow the tracks down.
Good. I really want to perfect it if I'm doing it.
I don't. I want it to be horrible. I want it to be the worst.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it'll sound great. I mean, if you do it right.
I was watching, this got me to watch somebody playing Flight of the Bumblebee on the piano, and I was just like, good Lord.
Yeah.
Good God. There are some parts where you have to use 2 hands on the same, 4 keys in order to play this shit. Yikes.
No, thank you.
Yikes, Rooney. They also went ahead and changed out some of the UI elements to make it a little bit easier. But yeah,
people were like, maybe make it fun. I saw somebody do the
Trombone Champ.
Yeah,
fun as hell.
Yeah, I saw somebody make. I don't know if you can put your own music in there, but somebody made Through the Fire and Flames. Mm-hmm. By Dragon Force.
Yep.
That was so fun to watch somebody play. It's just so silly.
Yep. Trombone Champ is an absolute masterpiece.
Another example of you can't predict what's going to be popular sometimes.
Right.
This wasn't wildly popular, but way more successful than anyone who saw it would be like, oh yeah, this is gonna make a lot of money. Nobody
it's one of those games where when you see it, you're like, oh man, if the internet finds out about this for 3 weeks, it's going to be all anybody talks about, and then it's going to disappear forever.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's one of those games that every Let's Player gets harassed about for a while. How come you haven't played this yet? And then you finally play it, and you're like, you guys the weirdest shit. Why are you like this?
Let's see. Another DLC news. There was a big Elden Ring DLC leak, and it turned out to be fake.
Stop fake newsing us, Jeff.
Well, I just want to let people know that it was fake. It's a fake.
What was promised?
Nothing. The thing is that it was
I just like that because I read one of the little sub headlines and it said "too good to be true."
Oh no, sorry. That's not true. I'm sorry. I'm very tired today. This is what was said: 6 new weapon types, 4 new legacy dungeons, which are like the big. There's like 8 of those in all of Elden Ring. 98 new unique enemy types.
Oh my god!
And then like a.
Oh yeah, that's like a whole nother game.
Yeah, and then like a map that was as big as like additional map elements that were as much game as the base game.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah. And then
and they were like, we're not doing that.
And then somebody put out this trailer where it's basically just like it's like kind of this zoom through a bunch of like mist and fog and trees, and then what comes out the other side to this like field, which was the one image that they released for the DLC.
Yeah,
it turns out this is an art student who just recreated this field in Unreal Engine 5 and then like did this and then like literally filmed it with a cell phone, so that it looked like a leak, and then put it up. And so
that's
like
people do that all the time. It is crazy how much you guys just believe anything.
Yep. And so for like a day, people thought that was true. And then, nah, not true. But I do actually have some From Software news.
Is it fake? I can't believe anything you say now.
No, it's real.
How do I know what you're saying is true, Jeff?
It's real because
look at it with your own 2 eyes.
I've got video evidence. So originally the story that I had was like, oh, there's a leak about when Armored Core 6 is going to be coming out. And then today when I was reviewing everything before we got started, it was like, no, actually, here's the actual trailer with the actual date on it for reals from the official From Software channel.
Nice.
So, there's a full gameplay trailer.
Pretty.
For Armored Core 6, with a lot of cryptic
Let the
shit.
last cinders burn.
Yep. And then there's a lot of mechs shooting at each other.
Yeah. That is clean. That looks really nice.
Looks like an Armored Core game.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't play it unless one of them mechs has a John Five's voice.
Oh wait, hold on. This is
Rubicon.
Hold on. This is only 1080 fucking p. I'm looking for 4 goddamn K over here. I got a 4K monitor. Best believe it.
Now I look and it's like, it's like I'm in
it. It's very much like 2 minutes of just mechs blowing up each other.
Yeah, but it looks
crazy.
nice. Look how pretty everything is. Even with a muted color palette, it looks really nice. And that's hard to do because sometimes video games make everything look like fucking mud.
That is true. This is the first time we're actually seeing combat. It looks very much like an Armored Core game.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was watching this and I was like, it looks okay. And I was like, why am I not as excited about this? And it's like, well...
Because you weren't watching the 4K version. That's why.
One, because I've played Armored Core and they're so goddamn technical that it's not something that I've been into. And 2, I don't just instantly get an internet boner for everything that From Software does. Like...
Despite popular belief.
Yeah. They've got stuff. I do like though how many story beats there are in the trailer. Like there's a lot of dialogue and kind of like people talking about stuff. So I'm hoping that there's a version of this that is not so incredibly technical that it bores me because but that's like what a lot of people want out of Armored Core.
Yeah.
Is you've got to like
But like if it gives you the option to wow, that's cool. If it gives you the option to like lessen that enjoy your gameplay mode.
Yeah. More than happy to, because a lot of it is like this ultra fiddly, ultra specific like equipping parts up to your weight limit and then like power distribution and like heat levels and stuff. And like I find very little interest in going through menus and doing that shit.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in like shooting stuff with lasers, but I don't know.
More of a pew pew kind of gamer.
Yeah. So yep. And then we actually got a release date. So August 25th of this year. And also a collector's edition with a big figures and art books
little
and
robot friend
pin badges and posters and all kinds of shit. So God, guys, how many fucking editions do you have? So yeah,
nice.
Big
digital edition.
Big Armored Core 6 coming this year. We also found out that in August we're going to be getting a THQ Nordic showcase. In previous years they've done this, and they're bringing it back this year. This is another indication, right? E3 is canceled.
Dead. Yeah.
So they've been doing this for 3 years in a row. I think it's always been kind of an okay show. This year they said they're specifically going to be showing Alone in the Dark, Outcast 2, and Trine 5, and then a bunch of kind of unannounced stuff and some new trailers and such. So
nice.
Yep. Yeah. And then also in other conference news, we got the news that the Nintendo is going to Gamescom, is coming back to Gamescom this year, which I thought was really interesting.
Were they not going to Gamescom previously?
Well, no, they haven't for the last 4 years.
Oh, wow.
But I think that this is interesting because I think it shines a little bit of light on the fact that, like, Nintendo is going to Gamescom, but they weren't going to E3 before it was canceled. Like, I'm not entirely sure what was happening, but that makes me wonder if there was some, like, weird fuckery going on in the background with the ESA that caused, like, Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft to be like, that's okay, I don't want to put up with any of that.
Yeah.
Because they're still going to other conferences. So, but
no E3, no more G4. It's just been a bad year for letters and numbers, you know?
Well, at least Jeff Keighley's still got the Summer Games Fest is still happening.
Yeah. That's all I have to look forward to.
Well, no, Devolver's still doing their thing at some point. Like, it's not specifically tied to E3, but they're doing it at some point.
Yeah, so now we just have to look out and keep up with Devolver.
Don't worry, I will tell you.
Oh, yeah. Don't even... I email them every day.
August 22nd is when... that Nintendo, August 22nd is when Gamescom kicks off.
Yeah.
So they have the opening night live on August 22nd.
Cool.
So let's see. From there, we got another Nintendo story with an interview with Mr. Miyamoto. I thought you all people would appreciate this.
Yeah.
Apparently, they talked to him a little bit about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and he literally said that, like, he thinks that the low critic scores actually helped the movie because people were like, that's weird, like, it's Mario, how bad could it be? I gotta go see.
Yeah.
And then, like, they were like, I thought it was fine.
That is probably the most accurate way of looking at it, because I do think that there are certain ones, especially with, like, brand recognition, like, kind of movies or any media, that if it gets a low score, a low review, people go, okay, but it's this, so I have to see. Because if it's like everyone loves it, people will, or like if reviewers love it, it's either like, oh, I have to see it because it's great, or it's like, well, I don't really have to see it, I wasn't dying to see it.
Yeah.
And everyone just kind of sounds like they're just Mario fanboys.
Right.
But then if it's like bad and you're like, well,
yeah,
but how bad? I've seen a bad Mario Brothers movie. Also, controversial yet brave opinion, I love the original Mario Brothers movie.
It's funny.
I think if you didn't call it Super Mario Brothers, it would be up there with, this is very controversial, fight me. It would be up there with, like, Fifth Element and stuff like, not, or less Fifth Element, but like Demolition Man, you know, that like futuristic weird shit where it's just like,
it's funny because in this article, this is on a Kotaku article.
Yeah.
I went down to the comment section and I saw somebody write basically what you just said about just like, you know, guys, the original Mario Bros. Movie is an absolute dream and it was wonderful and it was highly unfairly maligned and it was strange experimental, but they were trying to do something. And, like, here's the thing. I accept that. Like, I didn't like,
and I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. I'm just saying that people went like, "Oh, you want to see the worst movie ever? Watch the Super Mario Brothers movie." And it's like, first of all, it's a good movie. It's just not a good Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes, I think the thing. It's
a very 90s movie.
I think that a lot of people can go back and watch it and go, how interesting and innovative. The thing is that movie came out when I was like 12, and it was like they made a Super Mario Brothers movie, and there's Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo with the overalls on the poster and all this shit coming out of it, and then you go watch it, and it's fucking Judge Dredd with Dennis Hopper doing his best Tank Girl impression.
Okay,
and as a 12-year-old,
100%.
you go to the theater,
yes.
you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I agree. I remember coming out as a kid and like liking it, but like not liking it as a Mario Brothers fan, a Super Mario Brothers fan.
Right.
And being like, this isn't a why Toad is like a literal gross like mushroom, and why is Babam the only accurate thing in this whole thing?
You got the Koopa heads, the tiny Koopa heads.
You got the lady in the boots and
the Big Bertha,
and shit like that, and it's just like kind of weird, but like kind of good. And then watch it again, and then we watch it again, and then we rent it on Blockbuster, and it's you know, where it's just like I didn't like it, but I liked it.
The thing that I want to make very clear is that, like, I do think that it's probably not as bad as it had a reputation for being. However, I can also say that we're living at a time where there are actually good video game movies.
Yes.
As a person who liked video games, it was very hard for like 25 years to be like, here's another one. Like, we were holding up the first Mortal Kombat as a shining example of what a video game movie could be. And that movie is fine. It is fine. I will not sit here and have anybody tell me that Mortal Kombat is a goddamn cinematic masterpiece on par with fucking Remains of the Day or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna jump into this argument.
So
yes.
It's like comic book movies before.
Yeah,
maybe like Batman, like the first Batman movie where it was like, oh, here's a good one.
Like Superman was probably the first.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, comic book movies have a better track. In the 90s,
shockingly better track record, even though they've tried, I think, a lot longer.
Yeah.
But
it's just, I don't know. It was
I also think like old comic book movies, like the like quote unquote like failures and like box office bomb, have aged better. Like you go back and you watch older
like Elektra.
Okay. So like early 2000s, like late 90s, that's a dead I hated X-Men. I do not like X-Men, the Bryan Singer X-Men movies. Like, that shit is awful. I don't know why people like it, except that like casting was okay, even though not good. It's just you guys are wrong. All right, this is like bad comment section. I'm so sorry you guys are gonna come into this hate, but like I'll put up the John Leguizamo Super Mario Brothers movie over Bryan Singer's fucking X-Men movie any day.
That is a take.
Yeah,
that is we just started.
Fight me, baby.
We're gonna start a new website called "Comparing Two Things That Have Nothing to Do with Each Other."
I'm just saying. Like,
I will put Garfield without Garfield up against roasted salmon any day of the week. All right, you guys, you want to come at me? You come at me. All right,
let's go. Let's fight me, baby. I'm sorry that I'm comparing two adaptation films, Jeffrey. They have a little bit in common.
Okay, fine. Anyway, before we got over here,
how's Miyamoto doing?
I thought this was interesting because Miyamoto said in this press thing that he's become a bit of a TV critic.
Oh, really?
And he said, this is a quote, "At Nintendo, I have the joke title of NHK Morning Drama Critic. I check morning dramas every day and provide various critiques. Sometimes I'll praise them as being fantastic, and other times I'll point out their shortcomings." But then...
Dude, I want to be on that email newsletter.
No, but then he said that his wife is tired of listening to his TV critiques and she, quote, doesn't want to hear it. And so apparently it's like Miyamoto now just goes to Nintendo where everybody has to listen to him to talk about all the dramas that he's watching on TV.
He's like, actually, let me tell you guys about Ted Lasso. And everyone's like, no, we've heard how you feel about it.
So this just makes me want there to be a podcast where Hideo Kojima and Shigeru Miyamoto talk about TV shows and movies. I want the spill.com of game developers.
I would be so happy. I would listen to it all day, every day.
But not translated.
I would. Are you kidding? I'd still listen to it.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting, though, because, again, here's the weird thing. A lot of times Miyamoto, when he's interested in a thing, that's what the next game, the next new franchise that he makes is based on, whatever the thing is.
His little obsession is at the time.
Yeah, because the last time this happened was when he was super obsessed with like walking his dog, and then we got Nintendogs very shortly after. To the point where I read in that Nintendo book that I think it was Schreier did. No, that's somebody else. That like Nintendo has told Miyamoto not to talk about what he does
because
in public because it has now set the tone for like the possibility of guessing what he's going to do. I wonder if
there's like a specific television show or TV or genre. Like drama could be anything.
Yep.
But if there's like a very specific, like this dude is watching Cape dramas.
I'm just curious what a TV morning drama show is. Like instead of a morning news or morning, like Good Morning America, they just put on like soap operas in the mornings in Japan.
You know, what's playing in the morning in Japan, if it's all the, he's watching Gossip Girl like nonstop, and they're like in the morning, they just don't know what to put on. So they threw on,
I don't know,
Pretty Little Liars,
you just
and here he is.
Tweet at him, see if you can get him to
I email him every single day. Like I just harass all of the. This is why RageSelect is not. We're all on the like do not talk to them list because someone within the company.
What you don't know is that I tell everybody to email Shigeru Miyamoto every day. Every co-host of RageSelect is doing it all the time.
That actually would make sense.
Speaking of movies, we had a very weird thing that happened this week.
I knew about this one.
Yeah.
Because I follow the man.
So there is a game that was made by, David Szymanski, the guy that made Dusk, called Iron Lung. Mm-hmm. And we almost played it for the Asylum, but I wasn't sure whether it would be thrilling enough. And then we played a bunch of games where you just walk around and like a toilet at like a convenience store for 40 minutes. Ooh. And then a guy jumps up and kills you, and then the game is over. We're just like, what? Why? So Iron Lung is like you're in a creaky submarine in a blood ocean where you can't see anything, and you're trying to like navigate the depths with like this very claustrophobic controls and stuff. Mm-hmm. Markiplier's making a movie out of this?
Yeah.
He's like self-financing and writing and directing and starring in.
Yeah.
They put out a very brief teaser where they basically rotate the camera from the game graphics to basically a real-world set.
Yeah.
I don't have any real big like takes about this because I don't know if Markiplier... I don't watch Markiplier.
Well, so he does do, beyond his Let's Plays, he actually does do cinematic stuff. Okay. That has been pretty universally liked.
Okay.
Not, nobody's out there like he's fucking changing the world with this stuff, but he has always been kind of a filmmaker.
Okay.
When it's not his Let's Play stuff. The Let's Plays kind of just pay the bills. But I was talking to John about this the other day, and it's I think this could only happen within the horror genre, because only in horror do they go, oh, you just like want to fund your own weird fucking movie and put yourself in it and direct it and stuff. Yeah, like go for it. Like, in any other genre of film, it's usually like a slog of, and then you had to work this and you had to work that. You had to be like a co-writer and then hopefully a producer and then hopefully before you even touch directing. In horror, they're like, what? You never made a movie before? Bitch, get in that director's and come on
get
down.
in here.
Yeah.
We're going to lose the rights to Hellraiser. Go make whatever.
Yeah.
Here's a Pinhead mask. Come back in 3 weeks.
And the funny thing is, like, and I know this one is an adaptation, but like you can even be like, you got an original idea you want to do? Go for it, man. Let's do it. Like, horror doesn't give two shits. Yeah, they make the regular, like, let's make Scream 87. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. But they also are just like, what? This fucking weird thing? There's just like a chopped head in a basket? Yeah, hell yeah. Chopped head basket? Let's play that.
Do you want to make Five Nights at Freddy's with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
Why not?
We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because they're also cheap to make. And every like 12th one makes $100 million on a budget of like 8,500.
Some of biggest horror movies out there are the ones that had tiny budgets. Blair Witch was only like $15,000.
Yep.
And
Paranormal Activity. Yeah.
So like Markiplier funding his own, also acting in it, also directing it is not surprising because it's the horror genre.
Yep.
I know nothing about this game. I think I remember playing a little bit or looking at it or something.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what happens outside of like spooky noises.
Yeah, I just like, I think I watched his Let's Play of it, Markiplier's Let's Play of it, and was just like, he plays so many horror games that like they all just kind of bleed together, and it's like, oh, another one of those. He found it on Steam, it had good reviews, and he played it. Horror games, but I'm interested in it. I will watch it because one, I love supporting new directors, and it'd be kind of nice if he switches off of YouTube and switches on to making spooky scaries.
Sure. Yeah, I actually think that a lot of the bigger streamers, like I like it when they branch out, like what's his face, the Donkey guy that does the publishing. He's picked an indie game to publish. Like he created this thing called Big Mode that was like a publishing label, and then is putting money into publishing this one game. And it's, I mean,
like Game Grumps supports. Right? They made like Dream Daddy.
Yeah.
They made another one that I don't remember if it's came out.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it. And so stuff like this is like, to me, a good counter example for like, we can't let Microsoft get too big. And it's like, but why? If it gets boring, then like we'll just be over here doing stuff. And if Microsoft, and again, I'm not saying this as like a universal argument because you can make the opposite argument too, but like there is a world where having a big game company consolidate a bunch of good studios and then giving them the umbrella to do crazy shit works out. But then there's also a huge pipeline for stuff like this where it's like, you know, you make yourself an indie game for like,
indie artists will always find a way. Like there's always people making stuff.
You put together a good enough indie thing, and then fucking Markiplier plays your game, and then suddenly like, boom, you've made, you know, enough money to fund your next 3 games. So
yeah, I mean, Markiplier was a huge part of why FNAF was so popular.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I'll be interested. I am a slightly leery, only because I don't know much about Markiplier, but I'm slightly leery about wrote, directed, and acting in. Like,
I am too. I thought it was only wrote and directed, and I was like, cool, man. And then they were like, he's starring in it too, and I was like, all right. He's not a bad actor. He did like he did like his last big project was, I think it's called Markiplier in Space, and it's a relatively, he does like interactive storytelling. So like you click your choice, choose your destiny kind of thing in YouTube video form, but it's entirely cinematic and like.
So is it like if you go back to like the old the horrible Channel Awesome like crossover bullshit, but good? But like in a good way, like somebody that actually knew what they were doing type of thing?
Yeah, but like, somebody that like knows
learned?
how to, I don't know if he went to school for it, but he certainly does it like he went to school for it.
Cool. Because I know that there were a lot of people in that old first wave, like the Angry Video Game Nerd, and there was that comic book guy that all like crowdfunded quote unquote movies, and then made them, and then they came out and they were absolutely garbage.
Yeah, they were just fan service. Yeah.
So, but this is such a weird property, and like just the fact that in this video that there is like obviously a set that has been put together. Of that looks like it could work for something.
He is pretty good with creating a world. He's done a lot of like, I don't know how to explain his stuff because it's a lot of it's pieced together. Like if you're not watching his cinematic stuff and you're just watching his Let's Plays and you're just watching some of his like side stuff, he did like a year thing channel that he deleted after a year where they like put up a video every day called Unisonis. And
so he's still got the room to do. He's using the Let's Play to pay the bills, and then he does experimental stuff on the side.
Yeah, he's
keep himself
innovative, but he also has just like a very good eye for detail. He has a very good eye for horror. He knows pacing for horror really well. He knows how to rely on editing in a way that I think is underappreciated, especially within horror.
Okay.
That and not just jump scares, although he does love a good jump scare. So I expect this to probably have some of that too. But he likes my favorite kind of horror where he will just sit in awkward silence and let you fucking stir before giving you the jump scare, and that's fantastic.
That's the opposite of RageSelect, right?
Yeah. We are all yelling, none silence.
None silence.
This is a podcast. He's doing a visual thing.
Let's see. In other crazy ass news, Square Enix put out an AI game. Sort of. Mm-hmm. So there's a 1983 adventure game called The Portopia Serial Murder Case that was a text adventure game that Square put out a long time ago. It was made by the Dragon Warrior guy, I believe. And it's like a murder mystery where you type stuff. It was a text adventure, right?
Yeah.
You type stuff in. So they created some really ham-handed, like this is just a picture. A lot of these are just pictures with a Photoshop filter over them.
Yeah.
And then like a few anime generic people who have like
their mouths moving is weirding me out.
Generic lip flap. Like it's just they're just chewing on stuff.
Yeah.
And then they basically said that they were going to use AI in order to interpret your typing, like, so it's going to use kind of like a text interpretation thing, so that like in an old game it would be like you would say grab the bucket and it would say I don't understand, and you would say pick up the bucket and it would say I don't understand what you're saying. So
we literally just played a game,
right, Buddy Simulator,
and
that they said we want to try to use an AI learning model in order to basically like get them
to be a little smarter
to understand.
Yeah.
Catastrophic failure. The one nice thing about this is that it is free, but people that have played it have said that like it's actually worse than your standard old, like instead of having normally a lot of times in a text adventure game you will have like a kind of a like I'll accept a phrase that has this word in it type of thing, so that you don't have to type the exact thing. It'll still understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Apparently, because it's trash, it doesn't even understand, like you have to type in like the very much exact right thing or else it doesn't work, which is completely at odds with what they said it was going to do.
Yeah.
So
that's funny. Then you had to like caveman talk.
Yep.
Me pick up bucket.
Again, it's interesting because it is free, so they aren't charging money for it. But on the other hand, a lot of people who are actually fans of the original game are like, I would have rather had a functional re-release of the game as it was originally with these additional graphics and UI elements as opposed to this garbage. So good job, Square Enix. You've done it again. You failed again. Huzzah. Keep trying. You'll get it one of these days.
Someday you'll learn how to make a game.
Of all the things in the world that I keep waiting, we're at the very beginning of all this AI stuff, right? And I keep waiting for like, what would be great is just use it to generate background barks. I think I said this on the last podcast. Mm-hmm. Background barks for characters. Like if you're in a Grand Theft Auto, make it so that it's just like certain areas of the game have certain kind of prompts, and then they just build like a sentence and then run that sentence into one of those AI voice generators, so the people in the background are just like, oh man, did you hear about what happened down on the south side? Oh yeah, there was a fire the other day. So that you're not just hearing the same thing. Or use it for like when people get hit and they scream, to make many different like, ow, ooh, ah, oh, my leg, oh Jesus, like, so it's not just the exact same thing over and over again. And start small, start a little bitty, like take existing game, make it a little better, and then like, ooh, okay, let's work on that, and then maybe we can do it more and more and more, and then finally we can do more.
Yeah, like, it's definitely a like you got to dip your toe in and not jump all the way in kind of technology.
Yes. So, in other Square Enix bonehead news, I don't even know if this is much of a bonehead thing, but apparently Square Enix, they just recently put out the Switch and the PS4 version of the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 pixel re-releases. They put them on the PC and cell phones before, and so they finally put them on consoles where they should have been day one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Square. But the physical editions are completely sold out and are now being jacked up into the stratosphere by scalpers.
Sounds about right.
Yep. This was not helped by the fact that Square Enix, like, there were very few places they apparently did a very low physical run, and then one of the places that people were trying to get it was on the Square Enix website, so you would sign up to be notified when they were available for pre-order, and then they came up for pre-order like 2 weeks before they actually shipped. Like, it was very quick turnaround, and so some people missed it and then didn't get in, and now apparently they're running for like, I don't know, like $400 on eBay.
Jesus.
Like $300-$400 for like a fucking Switch game, which
weird. You guys are weird. I understand. It sucks though.
On the other hand, I saw a story this week that I didn't put on here that was talking about how scalpers are having to lower the price of video cards because they cannot get more than retail for them anymore.
Yeah.
So they literally have to just drop it to retail because otherwise nobody's going to buy it.
That is the funny thing that I've been hearing is that, like, I think there's a little bit of like the scalper culture is getting fucked up because people just can't afford to, like, well, fuck, I guess I'll just pay $400. I think there's super, like, people have become much more stubborn.
Yep.
And also just can't afford it. And so the combination is just like, oh, I'll give you this thing, but you got to pay like 4 times the asking price. And people are just,
nah.
No.
It's all right. It's cool.
Not going to happen.
Well, especially for something like this where, like, you can buy all these games digitally.
Yeah.
That's just if you want a physical copy. So,
word dog.
Well, speaking of lots of money,
no, we don't have any. Patreon. Oh, sorry.
Good news. Dead Island 2 sold really well.
Oh, nice.
Last week. So apparently, it sold over 1 million copies in its first 3 days, which is very good.
Yeah, that's very good.
I'm
proud of you. I have not seen anything except the trailer.
I played all the way through the game and thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think John's getting it soon, and I'll probably watch him.
It is wonderfully violent. Like, very good gore on the zombies, very good zombies. There is one problem that I will actually put out there. It's not really it's hard with this sort of thing because it's kind of 60
frames per. So 0 out of 10 can't play it.
No, it has to do with the story. Let's put it this way. The story leaves some threads hanging that will probably be wrapped up in DLC. But like when you're playing through the story, there's like 3 major story threads, and only one of those gets resolved by the end.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them that kind of remain dangling.
You gotta
which
leave
are probably
room for a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're just like, I think that some people might think that the plot thread that they resolve is like the least interesting one, and the ones that they don't resolve are the more interesting ones. So
all the more reason to dangle a sequel or DLC.
Well, hey, I'm gonna say that, like, if you can not buy a video game and wait for it, by all means, don't buy a video game and wait for it. Like, I think this is a really, really fun game, but it's probably going to have some DLC, and in 3 years, you're probably going to be able to buy the complete edition for $30 as opposed to buying a $60 version and then 2 DLC packs for it.
Yeah.
But it is worth playing. It was a hell of a good time, and it was like really gross and gory and spectacular.
Bloody and yeah.
Yep. So.
Oh, wow. Nice. Kind of reminds me of like Doom killing, those fun moments where you're just like, oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was very much like that. There was a lot of that going on. I don't know. I thought you would be interested in it just because it's set in California. So
I didn't know that.
It has like such a
For some reason I thought it was Florida.
No. That's why they kept saying Hella is when it says Hella. It's like they have the LA is highlighted, but no, it's like
see you in Hella.
Beverly Hills and like Venice Beach.
Oh,
and,
fantastic! Oh, that'll be much more. Oh, it's like going home filled with zombies.
Yeah, so pretty cool. Nice. I liked it quite a bit. Let's see. Let's get into the trailers.
Welcome to hell.
Our first trailer today is for that Funko Pop game. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Is this also going to be thrown in the landfill before it goes out to anybody?
Almost certainly. So the person that owns the company that owns this is what is the head company? It's like Universal. No, wait. I think it's Universal.
Yeah.
So this was a series of ex-Lego game developers, and you can really tell because it looks like a Lego game. But then the individual franchises that they're putting together into this weird third-person Funko Pop game are very weird. Like here in this trailer, you can see
like Skeletor.
We've got this is Umbrella Academy, The Mummy,
Frankenstein,
Shaun of the Dead. It reminds me of that Lego game that had all the weird stuff.
There's 2 Doc Browns. That's mildly annoying.
So much Umbrella Academy. I like Umbrella Academy, but like I found it very strange.
Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah.
What a weird thing to see.
That they're very much fronting Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
And like The Thing. So McCready from The Thing.
That's very funny.
Like in this trailer, they literally have like He-Man and
like Klaus from fucking Umbrella Academy. What the fuck?
Jurassic World is in here.
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica is a big chunk of this.
This is the toy equivalent of Ready Player One.
Sort of, yeah.
Oh my god.
Except it's very
what the fuck?
It was very weird because of these franchises that you don't ever.
Oh my god. A scene from The Thing via Funkos is not what I thought. That was not on my bingo card today.
It was it's a really Chucky.
There's Chucky.
Chucky's in there.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because it looks like a fucking Lego game.
It does look like a Lego game, but instead of Legos, it's Funkos.
Funko Pops. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
All the Thing imagery
is fucking tripping me the fuck out. I
weird.
hate it.
It's so weird. I don't think this is going to be very well received. Again, they lean really hard.
Yeah, goddamn. There's a lot of The Thing in there.
Yeah.
John Carpenter, what the fuck?
It's very strange.
Yeah.
I recommend everybody go look at it because it's
more just like it's confusing.
It's kind of one of those like, oh, it's the Universal Cinematic Universe. It's like, what's in there? And you're like, well, Back to the Future. And you're like, okay, like The Thing. You're like,
really?
The Thing?
Yeah.
And He-Man. Like, are He-Man and The Thing going to cross over? Because I don't think I could see
McCready hanging out with He-Man.
I don't know if that works. Like, maybe Orko? He doesn't have any blood, so they don't trust him. I don't know what's happening there. Let's see. Next up, we had a. What the fuck? I want my 4K version. Assholes. So last week we had a story trailer for a game called Immortals of Avium, which is the next game from the EA Originals. They made the Wild Hearts game. Or no, Wild Hearts was published under them. And this was described as Call of Duty, but like Magic. And it's got a bunch of it's got that lady from Firefly is in it.
Yeah.
And some other people.
People are in it.
And they're quipping. And then, so the thing is that last week there was a trailer for it. But then when they got to the actual action part of the game, it was all in 30 frames per second. And it was choppy and it didn't look very good. But this week they put out a 6-minute long 4K 60 frames per second demo of it, and this looks quite a bit better because it looks more like what I expected, which is Doom Eternal but with magic instead of shotguns. It's a little generic on the enemies.
Kind of D and Doom, if you know what I mean.
Hey. But it's still... It looks a lot better than it did last week. I don't know how much I care for the generic enemies. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, the enemies almost seem non-existent. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like they blend into the background.
They're like the destroyer thing from Thor.
Oh yeah,
like generic armor guys.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe this is level 2. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, just first intro to enemies, but you can have fun with designs and stuff. This is
a lot of particles, a lot of shining lights.
Yeah, there's a lot of sparklies going on.
Yep.
Also, I don't know why, it just feels like you're really zoomed in on your hands. Yeah. I never liked the BioShock style 2-hand thing. That shit fucking irks me.
Why?
I don't know. I just hate it.
Okay.
I just can't. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. The gameplay here looks better than it did in the previous trailer.
I feel like if people are hyped for it, it makes sense just based on looking at it. But like, I'm kind of meh on it, to be honest.
I'm still a little iffy on the story because it had a lot of quippies in it.
Yeah,
and I feel like we're kind of past the quippies.
Yeah,
we might be into a new era of just like
actual storytelling.
Well, no, we don't have to be sarcastically self-aware about everything.
Yeah, that feels really dated.
Yeah,
sense of humor. I have it, but I'm old. What can I say?
Let's see. From there, we got a very brief 15-second trailer for Honkai Star Rail. This is the launch trailer. This is just a quick reminder to everybody that Honkai Star Rail is out, which is the next game from the people that made Genshin Impact, which was a huge success, and it's like a space JRPG thing. It's on.
So it's a space train?
Yeah. Yep. It's like Mass Effect with JRPGs. We're probably going to look at it at some point. Not next week.
Yeah.
Definitely not next week.
No, we have more important things next week.
Yeah. Redfall
Stop
is
asking.
out next week, but it's on it's on there somewhere. We'll get a chance. Take a look at it. Maybe Matt and I can get it and become redeemed because we didn't really like Genshin Impact, and it's like the most downvoted video in all of RageSelect history because we were just like, this is fucking stupid. And everybody was like, "You're stupid."
Or maybe this will be the new worst downvoted.
Well, what'll happen is like we'll play this and we'll really like it,
and nobody will watch it.
And then it turns out that all the Genshin Impact fans fucking hate this shit, and then they're like, "What is wrong with you?" So, yep.
Yeah.
We got a trailer for Disgaea 7. Disgaea long-running JRPG, tactics JRPG.
What's this guy up to?
In hell. This one
cute.
appears to be about a demon and then like a little like cat girl that team up to do hell adventures. It's a very comedic trailer. The thing I like the most about it though is that this cat girl, she has a prinny and her prinny has little cat ears, even though it's obviously a penguin.
Yeah.
I've never gotten into Disgaea all that much, but they're supposed to be pretty fun. And I like all the character design stuff.
Yeah, I do too.
Even though it's mostly just Japan.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. We'll
Cute.
See. It had, I don't know if it had, fall. It's coming out fall of this year.
Dope.
We got a very brief gameplay trailer for V Rising's Gloomrot expansion, which I personally can't wait for. Unfortunately, the one thing that we didn't get a tease for in this is that you can make multi-story castles now.
Oh, God.
But we saw a lot of like steampunk stuff.
Is that a zombie moose?
Looks like it.
You're like an undead moose over there?
They had a trailer. They had a kind of a cinematic trailer for this that had very much a Dr. Frankenstein. So it's going to be kind of vampires versus steampunk Dr. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein always seems to be put into the steampunky era. I guess that kind of makes sense.
I mean, he did come to life with a lot of vacuum tubes and electricities and stuff.
Less steam, though.
Well, that's true.
They didn't steam him back to life. They were like, he's back.
Let's see. We also got a trailer for the Company of Heroes 3 console edition. This is like a World War II strategy game that is already out on the PC, but they're making a console version, and it looks like a good version. Like they show kind of one of my things that irks me is when they make a console, quote unquote console version of a PC game, and then it's just like, here's a virtual mouse.
Yeah.
Do what you want. But it looks like they're actually kind of customizing.
The most hated thing in all of gamer, I think one of the few things that like all gamers can agree on is hating that fucking console mouse.
I think a lot of people don't mind it, but
really?
I fucking loathe it.
I've never met a single person who's like, fuck yes. It's like I can tolerate it at best, but like I've never seen anybody that it's a positive.
Yeah. But But yeah, this looks pretty good. And then it's coming out May 30th.
May 30th. Ooh, soon.
Not too long to wait.
That's Memorial Day weekend?
Oh, I have no idea. I can't keep up with more than 1 week at a time.
I literally only know that because John's trying to get a 4-day weekend, and I'm like, do I want a 4-day weekend?
We also got some stuff about the Division Heartland. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I don't think anybody wants to just hear me talk shit about the Division, but
I do. Go on.
This is the free-to-play Division that they're making, where you can play it with your friends, and it's like Middle America, and it looks a lot like the Division, except they also added a bunch of like survival mechanics. So you have to make sure you have like water and food and stuff.
I barely make sure I have water. Now I have to make sure in game I have water.
Yeah,
we're both dying.
Yeah, it also looks terrible. It looks like, I don't know, it just looks like more of the Division, and
yeah.
I think the Division kind of, I don't know, I don't like the Division, so this is probably not for me. But even this, it's like, why is the frame rate so low? Why is it choppy? Like, why does it look choppy? This just looks like the fucking Division. Like, it doesn't look like it's doing anything new or interesting. Why is it so choppy? So
yeah.
Anyway, what I'm much more interested in, this will tell you where Jeff's
tell me
stuff is. I didn't realize this had happened this week, so I'd like to apologize to everybody. Amanda, you and I might be jumping on board with this train next week, so prepare yourself. Wales Interactive has a new FMV Choose Your Own Adventure thing, and this one is called Mia and the Dragon Princess, and it's like an action pirate adventure. It's got Paul McGann in it.
The doctor?
Yeah, the guy that played he was also Luther's wife's new guy on Luther, that show Luther. But it's like this lady that escapes to this it's like this underground pirate club where a bunch of people go, and then like these actual pirates show up, and there's like a hidden treasure or something. And then there's a bunch of like kung fu action and
what?
Yeah. Whatever it is, Wales Interactive
we're gonna play it.
We're gonna check it out because
that's not gonna stop us.
Yeah, it looks absolutely berserk, and I don't know how these guys keep getting money to make stuff.
I don't know how they keep getting away with it.
Oh
my god, what?
Yeah. Like, what was the one that we played that was like the art murders? Did you want to play that one?
Yeah.
Where
we were stuck to the chair and you couldn't get up, and we kept trying to get up, and we
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. We just kept fighting.
And it was like the one in the 80s and then one in like the modern day.
Yes.
That one was weird.
It was. I still enjoyed it, but we kept being dicks to the guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, be afraid of me. And we're like, no.
I refuse. I'm not invested in this character.
Yeah.
But
kill me. I'll kill us both. You think I give a fuck?
But yeah, that came out. Oh, wait, this comes out next week. No, this came out 4/20. No.
This 4 or 5. This came out on the 5th.
Really, for that long?
Yep. How embarrassing.
How embarrassing, Jeff. God.
I don't even know what today's date is. It's been out for at least 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
This is May 4th.
Oh.
So.
Oh, was I reading it backwards? Is that some
4, 5, 4?
That'd be April 5th, but if it's the other way, then it'd be May 4th.
How do you write dates?
I don't know.
Do you guys go
the passage of time?
Day, month, year? I don't think that's. Is that a thing?
Month, day, year, but in.
Is it different? It's fine. It's fine. Hey, we're gonna check it out at some point.
Yeah. The point is, we're gonna play it.
Yeah. We got an opening cinematic to a game called Omega Strikers that's coming out. That is a 3v3 kind of soccer game. The game itself is very like top down and kind of minimalist, but they paid Studio Trigger to make an opening cinematic for them.
Yeah, love the animation.
So yeah, it's very bombastic. Where it's almost too bombastic, where you can't hardly tell what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
But it's pretty good. Everybody should go watch it. I don't know if we're actually going to end up playing this because
it's a soccer game.
Yeah, it's not even like really a soccer game so much as it is like shuffleboard. Like You can even see that like
competitive shuffleboard.
That the quote unquote ball that they've got is like a disc. Yeah, that's like sliding around. But
it's like anime curling.
But it's a cool cutscene.
Yeah,
it's a very cool cutscene.
More inclined to watch this than play it.
Yeah, because I remember I saw this and then I went to go look up what the game itself looks like.
Yeah,
and I'll show you real
just
fast.
Little squares.
It's not quite that, but like it's. Here's the gameplay trailer. It looks like this. So it kind of looks like Pokemon, like that Pokemon MOBA, or like a MOBA.
Yeah.
Or like a top-down MOBA.
Yeah.
And, so I don't know. I mean, like, it could be fun, but I always find a lot of times that sometimes games like this can be fun, and sometimes they can end up being so repetitive that we don't end up really liking them.
Yeah.
I do remember when this was announced, though, because I remember the weird hamster man.
Yeah. Hamster man.
But, yep. Let's see. Next up, we got a trio of trailers that were very strange that were for the game Humanity. I don't know if you've experienced what Humanity is yet. It's like a PlayStation game.
I've yet to experience Humanity. Thank you for asking.
Where you play as a Shiba Inu and you're like lemmingsing people through like puzzle levels. So this trailer has like nothing to do with the game. It's like this lady trying to get people in a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah.
And then the dog goes around the corner and then like he comes back and then like 1 billion people walk into the barbecue restaurant all in like a big huge file, like way too many people that could ever fit into that restaurant.
They're like, well, our business is ruined.
Yeah, but this is what the game looks like.
Oh,
so you're like creating like
oh my god,
paths,
this is horrifying.
Right, for these humanities to walk around and swim and fight and like
weird
do stuff.
Oh
it's
my god,
very strange.
Sometimes they're dying.
Yes. And then but they have 3 of these. There's that one, and then there's one where there's a bunch of construction workers that are talking about how hazardous and dangerous like this site is, and they're like, we shouldn't do this. And they cut over, and it's like the dog is the foreman, and it's a commercial to show that you can make your own levels.
Yeah.
And then publish them online. And then the last one is a woman calling her boyfriend, and he says like some weirdo forced his way into my apartment. And she's like, you got a girl. And it's like, it's not a girl, it's a dog. And they're looking for something. And then the dog pops out with the VR headset on.
Oh, my God.
And like little hands come up.
Oh, my God.
With a controller.
What the fuck? This is like faintly horrifying.
Play this game in VR.
Why would I want to play this game in VR?
Because you feel like a god looking down on all of humanity.
I already feel like a god.
And then at the very end, it cuts back and like the lady busts in with the cops to the guy's apartment. And it shows the guy like with the VR headset on with his clothes off with a feather boa on sitting next to the dog. And it's like the tagline is it's too much fun to resist. And they literally have now a release date of May 16th for this game coming out. This reminds me so much of Sony's old advertisements.
I was gonna say, like, I know she's dressed kind of 80s like, but it's like oddly
it's all retro. It's like 4x3. It's got scan lines.
Yeah. It reminds me like back in the day when shit was just like creepy or weird for absolutely no reason.
Yep. Sony used to have, I don't know what their marketing team was, but we had like the melting baby and like real weird stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. This game looks crazy. They also had a 25-minute deep dive, but I didn't have time to watch that. So.
Yeah. I don't need to deep dive Humanity. I've seen enough.
We got a gameplay trailer for Flashback 2. This is very weird to me because I really like the original game Flashback.
Mm-hmm.
You know when we were talking about the game Lunark? Where it was like a guy that was like filming himself and then rotoscoping himself. Mm-hmm. So that was like a style sequel to Flashback of this like simple but then like very good motion graphics. They announced a sequel to Flashback, and they have a trailer for it that's got a kind of like a release window. and they show that it's like kind of a 2D, but then also you can kind of fire. It's like 2.5D, so you can kind of you're moving left to right, but then there's a little bit of Z-axis on it as well. You can move kind of in and out of the stuff. I think it looks really bad. I think it looks like a very this particular game has a big special place in my heart, and I think this looks like a very bad sequel to a game that I really liked a lot. It looks very generic to me. Like if it didn't have the name Flashback on it, I don't think anybody would be talking about it because what you can see is very generic. Also, they made a sequel to Flashback. It was called Darker Than Black. It came out like 1993, and I played it, and it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And
they were pretending it didn't happen.
Yep. Well, the big thing is that the guy that made the original is apparently involved in this as opposed to the original. But, like, I think this just looks so generic and bad. Like, the original game was about an everyman. It was basically cyberpunk They Live. It was a guy, and he found this little piece and found out that there were aliens that were like running the world that were like nobody else could see, and so then he had to go on the run to get away from them, and then he had to like figure out how to fight back and like work his way into the command center and blow up a thing. Like it's very much as They Live, but a Sega Genesis game. Nothing about this like is striking to me. And I think it just looks really bad. So I don't know. I know that I'm not an impartial observer for this shit because the original has such a
high impact on it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Am I being crazy? Did it look good to you? Or?
No, it looked. Yeah, I mean, generic is probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
it just looked like a dude running.
Like this is the original. So
yeah, and I remember you showing me this, and this looks really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just has a very striking look to it, and so I think that if they wanted to do...
I think modernizing it a little bit, like they seem to have tried to do, was actually a disservice.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't work well. Like, this kind of gameplay doesn't need to be modern. The art style for it doesn't need to be modernized. Well, you're not doing anything.
The thing is that I think that what maybe makes more sense is the fact that, oh my God, this is a really repetitive part of this game.
Yeah.
Is that when this came out, it was very striking. This trailer is not striking. Like if you just showed somebody this trailer that didn't know what this game was, they'd be like, why?
Yeah.
It just looks like a generic ass game. So, whereas if I showed you that Lunark trailer, it was like, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah,
like, this is striking and different.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know. It's supposed to come out in November of this year. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be good. Maybe I'll have to eat my words.
Yeah, maybe the trailer just showed all the bad stuff and none of the good stuff.
Yep. Okay, what else do we got here? Hold on. We're almost done. We've just got a few more things. But we're in the home stretch, Amanda.
Get me out of here!
The Mortuary Assistant is out on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, good. So, I'm not going to play it because it's too spooky. I'll get scared.
Too spooky scary. They put out a trailer. It looks like...
Did you play this?
Yeah. Tessa and I played this.
Okay.
We chose poorly because the big thing is you have to like figure out what body is like the possessed one and then exorcise it and put it in the crematorium, and we...
picked the wrong body?
We picked the wrong body. This seems okay. I'm a little worried that it probably runs like ass, like a lot of PC games that get ported to Switch.
Yeah, Switch is not really meant for this sort of thing.
But it seems like it's okay here.
Yeah.
Little low resolution, but okay.
That's fine. Spooky doesn't need high resolution.
Yep. But now I have very exciting news.
Yes.
It's the end of the podcast and we're all tired. Very, very exciting news. Today, this is another one.
Right now.
There was a news story that I put on the list yesterday when I was getting all the news ready. And then when I went to go back and read it today, I just did it based on the headline. And when I went back to read it, it was like, oh, this is going to be announced today. And so then I typed it in and I found it. Today, they announced DLC for Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So 3 new levels it's called the Spider of Lanka, and it's a prequel to all the stuff because if you played the game, you'll know that there's not a lot more to do in that game once you get to the end of it, but there's it's going to be 3 or 4 new levels, and it's all about the expedition that led up to getting the golden idol in the first place.
Yeah, cool.
And not just that, but it's also coming out May 4th. So
nice.
Very, very soon. I desperately wish sometimes that I hadn't have just tore ass through that game and we could have played the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we are definitely going to be playing this.
Nice.
And it's going to be $6. If you haven't already played it, Case of the Golden Idol. I keep saying curse, but it's Case. Case of the Golden Idol is amazing. I think I told you the whole story eventually, but it's really one of the better. Again, you go back to one of the more striking games that I remember from last year was an indie game that like Lucas Pope tweeted about. So, boom. Quantum Break is back on Steam and or back on PC, Steam, and Xbox Game Pass. A few weeks back, it was pulled down, and it was specifically said that it was pulled down due to some licensing issues and would be back. It is back.
Nice.
FYI. Let's see. Outside of that, we got a release date for Star Trek Resurgence, which is the Star Trek game that's being made by some Telltale folks. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of information about this game for a while. But yes, it is coming out on, we have a full on date, May 23rd. So
May's going to be busy.
I have a problem with May.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're getting only the super fans are still listening, right? So Matt can't record Zelda the day that Zelda comes out, and so my thing is, do I wait until the next week, and then if I wait until the next week, what the hell do I put
where Zelda would be? That's a big hole to fill.
No one, because if you've noticed, all of these May dates are early May or late May, but mid-May, there's a new fucking Zelda game coming out. Do not go up against a new Zelda game. And so I'm like, well, what the fuck do I put in the middle of May? The only thing I can think of is that Diablo 4 beta. But then it comes out in early June, and I'm like, well, I don't want to just turn around
snipe your own views. Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway.
God damn it, Matt. Change your plans.
I can't ask Matt.
I know you're listening, Matt. Change your fucking plans.
Matt's always just like, I'm going to, like, I have work to do, not your free website for, fans. And it's like, yeah, but it's Zelda, man.
Come on.
I can't believe that he would be out of town when a new Zelda comes out. Like, I don't know.
That's selfish, Matt.
I don't know. You guys got any ideas? Let me know. Cult of the Lamb's free DLC launched this week.
Yeah.
So Relics of the Old Faith is out, and according to one person in the Discord, it's very good. Apparently, it adds a lot of new relics and quests and some new stuff to do.
Yeah, I mean, I did all of that before even defeating all the enemies. So I imagine it's nice to have a whole bunch of new stuff.
Do you think you're going to go back?
I don't know. I tried because I stopped playing. I've said it a few times that I played it on the Switch and it just crashed my Switch out after a while.
Okay.
And it just kept doing it. Like I would get in the middle of a boss battle, and if I brought, at some point you can bring your 2 of your followers with you,
fight alongside you.
Yeah. And if I did that, it would crash my game. But the difficulty was so hard, you're supposed to have them.
Right.
So I was stuck in either trying to power through it as just me, or risking having the whole game lock up on me and then just...
Do you think they fix that? I mean, there's probably patches.
I'm certain they have. Yeah. But the problem is that now every time I try to go back, I'm just like... I lost my momentum of playing it, and I just I either have to start over or spend a lot of time reacclimating to playing it, and I'm just like, I'm not sure if I really want to.
Yep, I get it. Let's see. I feel like this is another you and me thing that's going to be happening.
Yeah.
The Young Horses, the Bug Snacks studio, put out 4 unreleased games that they made during game jams and stuff.
I'm in.
So here's the thing. One is called Independent Ant.
Oh, hell yeah, I'm in.
And you play as an ant that has to kind of navigate around and get the colony back together.
Yeah.
So you're just walking around. You're like an ant.
Getting the gang back together, guys.
Yeah. And you're kind of just climbing all over stuff and doing stuff
That's
as
cool.
an ant. And these are all free on Steam, by the way.
Nice.
You might have to search for them. I had a hard time finding them.
Who needs Zelda when you have
Independent. The second one is called Ambassador, and you're playing as a little finger that is an ambassador to like an ant colony.
Oh my
But
God.
the thing is that you have to be very careful because it's got like motion controls, and you don't want to like squish any of the ants.
Yeah. Oh no.
And so
Yeah.
it's a very strange concept.
So, did they have some sort of
Oh no!
attack of ants in their game, like their studio?
I don't know.
And why are they of 4 games so far? 2 of them have been ant-based games.
The other 2 are not.
Okay.
Still,
50% of their games are ant-based.
I think the one that you
How many people work there are in fact just ants in a trench coat?
The one I think that you're going to want to play is called Snake Date.
Snake. Oh my God.
And you play as a snake, and you like go on apps and swipe with your tongue, and then like when you find somebody, you coil around them in a horrible physics
This
puzzle
looks
thing.
amazing.
And it appears that all of the date people are horses. I don't know if that's just the horse bar that's like level 1.
Yeah.
But you snake all around them. I don't really understand.
Is it getting bigger? Is this like literally dating sim for Snake, the like cell phone game
I
where
think
the
it
snake
is,
gets bigger and bigger?
because you could see down there.
Yeah, that's a huge snake.
I think that when you go around somebody, then you get more snake, and your option is to like get around everybody, to like snake up everybody at the snake bar.
Oh my God.
Wait,
That's
what was that? Your rating is flirticulated python.
Oh my God. You slithered into the hearts of your peers.
So that's Snake Date, and then the last one is just an early version of Octodad, which I really like
Wow.
as well.
These guys really make weird ass games, huh?
Yes.
They're my people.
Yes. I really like Octodad.
Yeah, Octodad is so silly fun.
So yeah, those are all on Steam right now. Hard to find. I had to like search them out in the browser and then add them into Steam.
No.
Like I had a hard time finding them on Steam. I don't know. They might be easier to find by now. And then our last thing before we get to some fun stuff, Oregon Trail is getting DLC. So the game Oregon Trail, from like a billion years ago,
where we all learned to play it in school. Our friends died of dysentery.
Yep. There's a latest version is put out by Gameloft, and they're literally putting out a DLC called Cowboys and Critters that has like a new cooking mini game and like a different trail that you can go on and like a few other things. And I think the least likely square in my bingo card was DLC for Oregon Trail.
Yeah, that's a little nutty.
Yeah. But I think it's...
I mean, I'll play it. Hell yeah. Oregon Trail is like one of the best games ever.
I don't think I've beaten it.
May
May 8th. So there you go. Maybe instead of Zelda, we could play the Oregon Trail DLC.
Oh my God.
And
then
drive all the subscribers away.
And then you make everyone that's in your little team is just different hosts. And then Matt dies of dysentery because he didn't want to play Zelda.
Didn't want to play Zelda. I do feel though that there's an opportunity to corner the market on non-Zelda games for like this one day.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm tired of watching everybody play Zelda.
What about Oregon Trail? I felt bad because I don't like to talk about this, but I'm a little loopy right now. But somebody in the comments for one of our videos was like, "You wormed your way into my recommended," and I was like, "Ooh, be careful, man. We're not for everybody. We're a very we're a very specific taste. Like sometimes people get really mad that we only do 2 parts of games, and I'm like, sorry, that's just what I do.
Yeah, baby, we're like the palate cleanser of the internet.
Or they're like, they never shut up, and I'm like, that is correct.
Yeah,
I did that on purpose. That wasn't an accident.
He's trained us all.
Yes.
He yells at us if we get quiet. He hits us when you guys aren't looking.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yep.
And answer it or I'll hit you. No.
Yeah. You're so funny, Jeff.
What's a weirder news story? Oregon Trail is getting DLC or Call of Duty is getting a board game?
Equal.
So Call of Duty is getting a board game.
Yeah. Is it just Monopoly with guns?
I don't know, because it's currently having a Kickstarter for the Call
Why
of...
the fuck do they have to kickstart a board game?
Apparently, it's like it's an official board game, but from what I can understand from reading this story, like the company that's making it is a company called Arcane Wonders that does a lot of like board game adaptations. As near as I can tell, I think that what they've done is they got Activision to allow them to make a board game, but with no funding whatsoever from Activision. So like they're not going to pay a licensing fee, but they're also not going to get any support. So if they can do it, then fine. But if you can't, then nah.
I mean, that's not like unheard of. There have been video games that have been turned into board games.
That's true, but not many first-person shooters.
Yeah, I think they're just going to let go of the first-person aspect of it.
So it's just going to be like Tom Clancy's board game, like I've got to move soap to the 4th to fucking Park Avenue or whatever. Like,
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That is really weird.
Really
I'd be interested to see what the concept of the board game is.
Yeah. Speaking of weird, we get this fun story about this lady online on Etsy that made like a tiny little crochet DDR mat.
That's adorable.
That actually works because she used conductive thread on some of the panels. So it was actually able to be hooked up to a little Arduino that had like custom code. So you can actually use, it's like the size of a pot holder and it's crocheted.
Yeah.
But you could totally play Dance Dance Revolution with it.
That's a good use of crochet skills.
Yeah. I want an Afghan. I think if you had a DDR Afghan, and you're like, but watch this, and then you actually like turn it on and you're like, that'd be pretty cool.
Except for the DDR part.
Except then you have to play DDR.
Except then you have to dance, you fool. I want to crochet Trombone Champ.
What, like a yarn trombone?
Yeah.
A yarn bone? A trom yarn?
Trom Yarn sounds like a character from Overwatch.
That's what I was just thinking. I was trying to figure out a Torbjorn joke while you were talking. All right, 2 more.
Oh, God.
So everybody likes to make fun of AI.
Yes.
Right? You remember how for a long time you could always tell an AI because the hands were all messed up.
Yeah, the freaky hands.
Yes. Well, the internet discovered a new thing because Midjourney version 5 came out and it can do hands pretty well.
Yeah.
But somebody typed in like influencer girl playing video games. And the thing is that Midjourney does not understand how video game controllers work.
Yeah.
Because what they got back was
monstrosity of controllers.
like these are regular looking people, but the controllers are all facing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So the people that look like real people are holding controllers, but they're holding them like they're showing you the front of the controller.
Yeah.
But also like that's the way that you hold a controller.
Okay, all right. I understand that this is about the controller, but can we talk about her weird head, like the bottom right one?
This one?
Her head looks not on her body correctly.
Also, she has headphones that don't appear to be human. They appear to be like cheek phones.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like the top one, oddly skinny arms. She doesn't have a neck. It's this like shoulder head for all of them.
Yep.
Which is really weird. Like she looks kind of freaky. If I stare at her long enough, I'm gonna start having nightmares.
Oh, dude, we are very close
Yeah.
to like people being accused of being AIs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Have you seen the AI generated pizza commercial? I posted it in the Discord.
I posted it in the Discord.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
I was like, I went looking and I must have not scrolled up high enough. Big pizza time or whatever it is. Like, it's kind of okay. Like it gives you that like faint freakiness.
Yeah.
Except for me, the what you call it, the delivery driver. half in and half out of the door frame when he's delivering the pizza.
Yep.
That's the scariest part.
Pepperoni hug spot.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. The thing is that
it's like Family, but with cheese or something.
AI does not know how people eat.
Yeah.
And so, like, anytime that...
Yeah, it's just this weird, like, mouth motion, and then food just slurp it into...
I showed Michael this. This is peak AI. There was this video of Will Smith eating French fries. Have you seen this?
No.
Let me see if I can find this. AI... Will Smith French fries. Oh, no, it was not French fries. It was spaghetti. It was Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
AI generated Will Smith eating spaghetti. And
it's just like handfuls of...
None of it is...
No.
It works. It's all horror.
Yeah.
But it's almost... It's close
Why
to
doesn't he have a shirt in that one?
I don't know. There's
what
two Will
the
Smiths eating spaghetti.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But
I feel like I'm gonna look over my shoulder and there's gonna be an AI Will Smith.
I tried a bunch of lady influencers playing video games. And what was funny, Amanda, is strangely the exact same thing happened where the ladies looked okay.
Yeah, these look better than the other one.
Controllers are facing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is about these AIs. Look at this one.
Yeah.
Where it's like
she's like, I had to get adaptive handles because this controller doesn't work. And it's like, you're holding it backwards.
This is almost exactly a PS4 controller, as if somebody was holding it in the wrong direction.
Way, yeah.
And then,
I mean, if anything, though.
And then there's this lady and her leg. And like what?
Yeah.
What has happened? I know that
she's
I'll
like,
put this in the Discord.
Yeah,
but,
she's like leaned forward, but her leg is protruding out in a way where it wouldn't.
Also, the TV is behind her.
Yeah. Okay, so hear me out. So I grew up in the Tumblr days, right? And you'd have and I hate the term.
Yep.
But the fake gamer girls.
Yep.
Where they would always like have the controller in their mouth in a sexy pic or whatever.
Right.
So you typing influencer girl playing video games and then them not knowing how a controller works is funny on a different level. Because like the implication is like, I've never played a video game, but like I know the nerds will love this pic.
This lady's got like a tiny Motion Pro controller.
She's a giant. It's actually a normal controller.
And she's got like a bunch of tattoos. This lady, I don't even know how this controller is.
Yeah, it's kind of floating.
Reworking. It's very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, like their hands are holding the control. Like, their hands are in the right position,
and they have 5 fingers.
Yeah,
amazing.
But the controller is not right. Like it needed to show you the detail of the controller.
But the question that I have is, how is
her mouth is huge?
How is it looking at pictures of controllers? How is it finding pictures of people hunched over like they're going to play a video game, holding something,
but
then putting the controller in the wrong direction? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I did a few of these and they were pretty fun to look at. So.
Yeah, delightful. They all seem to be having a good time.
I think it's funny what Midjourney thinks female influencer is. They got a pretty good cross-section of female influencers going on here.
This is very similar to girls laughing with salads.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that video
do.
thing back in the day? This is what it reminds me of
a lot. Yeah. I, for one, am very much looking forward to the hilarious AI future that we are moving into. Sure, you will not be able to trust anyone or anything or even your own eyes anymore. Yeah. But we're going to get some great jokes out of it.
And really, that's all that matters.
I mean,
we're all burning in like 4 years anyway. Who cares? Just enjoy yourself along the way.
Right. If I have to live in a hellscape of the internet, if I have to live in a world that has an internet, at least I should be able to get some laughs out of it.
There will be laughter.
Yes.
My God, there will be laughter.
And speaking of laughter, last but not least, so there's a mod for Halo that's called Cursed Halo. And apparently the latest version of Cursed Halo has a whole Halo cart level.
That's fun.
Which is just like an N64 Halo level, but it's like fully playable and like got AI opponents, and it's also got like you've got like a co-pilot that will shoot at people automatically, and like some upgrades and stuff. And people are like
you can see some like crashes and they lose their co-pilot.
Yeah.
And they're just out there like, I guess I'll keep shooting.
Yep. When they have the intro, they have all of the different characters, and then the last two are like Dante from Devil May Cry and his son Goku. Like, it's very weird. But
this is peak weird shit of the internet.
This is what I want from the internet.
Yeah,
this is what I want.
Just so we're clear, we went from here's the AI having problems generating the back of a controller.
Yep.
And then the next story is here's the weirdest shit humans can make.
Yep. Can't wait. Can't wait. Where they're like,
we're all either way bad.
I like the way that we're trying to get AIs to be better at stuff. Meanwhile, we're just like, what if Mario Kart was also Halo?
Yeah.
Like if an AI made this, it would look good and shit. But I don't want it to look good.
Yeah, it needs to look weird and horrifying.
I don't want to be able to see infinity.
Please do a prompt of Halo as Mario Kart.
Halo as Mario Kart? Sure.
Yeah.
Halo as Mario Kart.
I don't know if that's the best way to word it, but and then it's just let's see what Midjourney does. The better version. Who did it better?
I don't.
The ultimate challenge.
Oops. Okay. Hold on. I somehow clicked away. Mario.
I accidentally ended up on.
Okay. There we go. V5. Blat.
Blat.
Yeah. I don't want to live in a world where I can see Will Smith eating spaghetti whenever I want.
I love that. But like, I don't know. It's weird, right? Do you remember YouTube poop?
I do.
Is that not just what AI is struggling its way through right now?
You remember like when the those horrible Quiznos ads from the early 2000s.
Quiznos,
right? Like
they have a pepper bar. Yeah,
right.
Dude. Those changed my brain chemistry when I was a kid. I was like a normal person, and then I saw those, and I've never been the same.
I feel like we're going back to weird internet.
Yeah.
And you can't stop us.
That's a positive. That's always going to be a positive.
Okay, I think it's going to take too long, so we're going to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, no. We're going to put that shit in the Discord.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and I hope that this was, I don't know.
I hope it was good for you because it was good for me.
Podcasts.
Not like eating tater tots, but you know, it's pretty good.
This is the podcast. Yeah. Patreon.com/Ray. It's like, God, I need to sleep more.
Yeah. Oh my God. You need a little more than 6.5 hours.
I think I might. I need to go watch some more videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah, that'll make sleep a lot better.
That'll perk me right up. Well, no, it'll cause nightmares. I'll never sleep again. It'll be fine.
Perfect.
Can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't do anything except watch videos of Will Smith eating spaghetti. So I better get to that. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.